Chapter 104. Kanazawa Village had a shallow stream that flowed down from the mountains, through a bridge, and had pebbles on both sides. Every year during summer vacation, the few children in the village would gather there to play with the water. Jumping off the bridge would be regarded as conquering the river, and they would receive the title of brave. From this point of view, it was not an exaggeration to call Kanazawa Village the Brave, because all the children in the village who had reached school age had received the title of brave. Thanks to playing with the water every year, as long as you smelled the strong water vapor, you would feel that summer vacation had really come. Is this the deep feeling? Leaving the subconscious with the impression that summer vacation equals water vapor? Yes, you're right, brave. Miki Kujo looked at the white clouds in the sky and perfunctorily said to Toru Watanabe, who had been chattering nonstop. In the huge circular swimming pool that simulated the flow of the sea, she lazily sat in the swimming ring, drinking fruit juice with ice cubes and floating with the current. Toru Watanabe leaned half of his body on her swimming ring, which was full of the summer flavor, and also drifted with the current. His line of sight slid down her well-proportioned collarbone, and a full and swollen chest came into view. It was covered with a black swimsuit, and further down, there was a large area of white skin. Because her skin was smooth, water droplets condensed into a shallow puddle on her lower abdomen. Toru Watanabe had always thought that whether it was black or flirtatious red, they were very suitable for Miki Kujo. In front of him, she was wearing a black bikini, which made his eyes stare straight. Miki Kujo handed the transparent cup of fruit juice to Toru Watanabe, leisurely closed her eyes, and seriously enjoyed the massage of the waves and the caress of the sun. Toru Watanabe also comfortably lay on the swimming ring. The cup in his hand was half submerged in the pool, and it looked like it was about to fall. Looking into the distance, the other members of the playing department, who came a little late, were coming from the direction of the changing room, holding all kinds of swimming equipment in their hands. Yoshimi Tamamo even put on the swimming ring. Although the pool was reserved for only a few people, including the simulated waves, slides, and other facilities, all of them were working normally. It's so comfortable, come down quickly. Wow. So cold. This place feels really good. Take this. A sneak attack. Look at my water bubble attack. Their laughter drifted above the empty pool. When it reached Toru Watanabe's ears, it was already too weak to be heard. On the second lap of the pool, the two met Rin Kiyono, who insisted on doing warm-up exercises, and went into the water alone. Sitting in the dolphin-shaped swimming pool, she wore a very southern swimsuit. Her unbelievably slender waist was wrapped in a beach towel, and her fair skin was almost transparent under the sunlight. Toru Watanabe secretly peeked into her beach towel. A few drops of water outlined the perfect lines of her tight calves. He quickly took a sip of Miki Kujo's juice. If he didn't hide it, Miki Kujo, who was close by, would definitely hear the sound of him swallowing his saliva. During the brief moment when they were walking side by side, Mika Kujo glanced at Chinyi Rin's chest and laughed in disdain. Rin Kiyono glanced at Miki Kujo's white and black chest. Only a little bit of white was exposed, and the shape was full. It could even be called aesthetic. She didn't care at all, and said as if she was talking to herself. Using the size of a girl's chest to determine her value is something that only the most superficial people would do. You mean that you're better than me in other areas? Isn't that natural? Do you have any questions? If that's the case, Miki Kujo took off her sunglasses with one hand. Then let's compete. I want you to understand that you can't beat me in other areas except for your body. Toru Watanabe, who was sucking on a straw, looked back and forth between the two of them. A fight between beautiful girls. So interesting. The three of them finished drifting and returned to the shore. The members of the band who were splashing water at each other by the pool also gathered around. Mayasahi, who was tall in a white swimsuit, stood out among the crowd. Her slender legs and full breasts were a strong contrast to her expressionless face. Yoshimi Tamamo wasn't bad either. Her brightly colored swimsuit outlined her beautiful curves. Asako Hanada, who was wearing a one-piece swimsuit, was very cute. She was so cute that people wanted to put her on their knees and feed her ice cream. Kaoru Hayami, Misaki Komatsu, and Aoi Ichiki weren't bad either, but they paled in comparison to the others. Kaoru Hayami looked back and forth between Rin Kiyono and Miki Kujo, who were standing together. His gaze lingered on their bodies and finally he secretly gave Toru Watanabe a small thumbs up. Toru Watanabe was speechless. What happened? Yoshimi Tamamo asked Rin Kiyono. Since when did she like Rin Kiyono so much? Could it be that she wanted to turn Rin Kiyono gay and find a rich girlfriend like him? Toru Watanabe, who was watching from the side, thought to himself. Without waiting for Rin Kiyono to explain, Miki Kujo glanced at the pool and said, "Is it okay to swim to the opposite side of the pool? I'll give you a 3-second handicap." Rin Kiyono reached out and untied the beach towel around her waist. Her actions were casual, and she definitely didn't mean anything else. However, she was very flirtatious and had a hint of awkwardness. Toru Watanabe blinked quickly. He wished that his eyes had a camera function. No, the camera function would be better. He finally understood why both of them had 9 points of charm, even though they were similar in appearance. Miki Kujo's legs were already very beautiful. As someone who had touched, stepped on, and used them before, Toru Watanabe could say without hesitation that even models couldn't compare to her. However, Rin Kiyono was even better. As someone who was studying women's legs, he had to use his strong willpower to barely look away. Faced with Rin Kiyono's confidence, Miki Kujo only sneered and stood on the diving platform at the same time as her. "There's a competition. Can we join?" Misaki Komatsu asked excitedly. "Let's go together." Miki Kujo clearly saw these people as Rin Kiyono's retainers. "Senpai will join too." Aoi Ichiki pulled Mayasahi and Asako Hanada onto the diving platform. "Morning senpai, are we going too?" Yoshimi Tamamo asked. "This is a rare opportunity. Let's have fun." In the end, Toru Watanabe acted as the referee for the swimming competition involving 7 female high school students. He sat on the 3-meter high chair that the lifeguard usually sat on and said loudly, "Athletes, listen to my command. 3, 2, 1. Begin." Splash. Splash. The sound of the beautiful bodies of the female high school students diving into the water could be heard. The water splashed everywhere and sparkled under the sunlight. Miki Kujo and Rin Kiyono took the lead. Other than the two of them, the rest of the swimmers were all amateurs. They dog-paddled, breaststroke, and so on. Kaoru Hayami, Asako Hanada, Misaki Komatsu, and Yoshimi Tamamo swam and bumped into each other. The energetic skin of the female high school students rubbed against each other, and the 4 of them made cheerful and playful sounds. Aoi Ichiki used a diving style. Her speed was quite fast, but her sense of direction was not good. She swam 30 degrees away from the finishing line. Mayasahi was at the back. She was leisurely swimming backstroke. She was enjoying the fun in the pool and did not care about the competition. Toru Watanabe glanced at her breasts and face that were above the surface of the water, and then looked at the team at the front. Both of them were very good. Their swimming style was not messed up from beginning to end, and their speed was also amazing. Rin Kiyono's stamina was slightly worse, but the pool was not very wide, so she was not at a disadvantage. She was able to swim in a freestyle style with Miki Kujo and compete with each other. The moment their hands touched the finishing line, they immediately looked up at each other. Their timing was almost the same. "You're too slow. Soaking in the water can give you heat stroke and make you hallucinate. Stop struggling, Rin Kiyono. You're 0.7 seconds slower than me. Looks like you're seriously ill." In reality, it was impossible to tell who reached the finishing line first. But the two of them insisted that they won. In this situation, they looked for the referee for help. "Watanabe, tell her. Who's faster? Don't try to lie. I'll be watching you." Just by standing there, the 2 beautiful girls were like a work of art. But at this moment, Toru Watanabe was not in the mood to appreciate it. He hated his eyesight for being too good. He hated himself for staring at the 2 of them so seriously. The scenery behind them was also very good. What he hated the most was Rin Kiyono's inexplicable ability to detect lies that even he did not have. "Kiyono-san is a bit faster." Rin Kiyono crossed her arms, and a smug expression appeared on her beautiful face. On the other hand, Miki Kujo, Before Miki Kujo's face was completely shrouded in a haze, Toru Watanabe quickly spoke up. Wait. As the referee, I don't think this is a fair match. In any case, he had to say this first to alleviate the danger to his life. Toru Watanabe's brain began to work, and he desperately tried to recall the knowledge he had about swimming. He did indeed insist on swimming, but he knew nothing about it. Wait. An interview about Fu Yuanhui from his previous life suddenly popped up in his mind. He remembered that she said her swimsuit was too tight, saying that the competition was unfair when you lost. This is what losers do all the time. Rin Kiyono looked at Miki Kujo and said. Miki Kujo narrowed her eyes and was about to say something, but Toru Watanabe had already organized his thoughts. Kiyono-san, your words can be applied to most situations, but today is an exception, he said confidently. You're going to talk nonsense again? Toru Watanabe sneered. Why do all swimmers have to wear competitive swimsuits in an official competition? Didn't you notice? No matter what cup size, it's all squeezed to the point that it's like an airport runway. After a short pause, he said loudly as if he was announcing a new constitution. Because body size affects drag. Kiyono-san, your bust size is 78, your waist size is 55, and your hip size is 87. My Miki's waist and hip size are similar to yours, but her bust size is 85. Under such circumstances, your swimming time is only faster than my Miki's by less than a second. If you wear a competitive swimsuit, you can definitely surpass her. So this competition is unfair. Rin Kiyono crossed her arms and rested her chin on her hand. What you said makes sense, but no matter what, I've won this time. I don't want this kind of victory. Miki Kujo's gloominess disappeared, and she said in a measured tone. You're looking for excuses when you lose, and you don't care about winning or losing when you find an excuse. You've already lost in terms of mentality. You've won under unfair conditions, and you're still so proud of yourself. Don't be so shameless, I've also lost. Wait. Toru Watanabe quickly inserted himself in the middle of the battle between big breasts and small breasts. It's just a swimming competition, no need to be so serious. With your talents, you'll definitely improve by leaps and bounds in the next competition. A momentary victory doesn't mean who's better. The two of them sneered, as if they agreed with his words. Just then, the people from the Trumpet Club came to find Rin Kiyono, and the battle finally came to an end. Only Toru Watanabe and Miki Kujo were left at the judges' table. Miki, do you want to take a break? Just now. Miki Kujo reached out and gently helped Toru Watanabe brush his wet bangs to the side. I did well, didn't I? However, the reason why Miki lost this time was because her breasts were bigger. Kujio Miyoshi's hand brushed past the side of his face and stopped at his ear. You said her measurements, right? Did I say that? Miki Kujo traced the outline of his ear, as if she was teasing him. Wait, Judge Miki, I still have something to say. Say it, I'm listening. Toru Watanabe swallowed. My grandmother once taught me how to estimate a girl's measurements, so, Miki Kujo grabbed Toru Watanabe's ear. Your grandmother taught you? Why don't you say that I taught you? It hurts. Although his ear was hurt, Miki Kujo didn't seem to care about Toru Watanabe's measurements, and casually let him go. But it could also be because of an even uglier reason. Knowing that Rin Kiyono's bust was only 78, she was in a good mood and didn't care about anything else. After swimming so fast just now, Miki Kujo was also tired. Wearing sunglasses, she lay on a chair under a coconut tree. Her beautiful body was like a mermaid that had come ashore. Do you want to eat anything? Toru Watanabe asked. Smoothies. What about flavors? Anything. The food area, which was far more expensive than outside, was still open today, but the staff had all been replaced by women. Toru Watanabe looked at the menu and ordered a pineapple-flavored and a colorful fruit-flavored, which was recommended today. Please wait a moment. Okay. While the staff was working, Toru Watanabe looked at the swimming pool in boredom. The people in the organ department were on the slide, one after another, making a big fuss. He didn't know if a swimsuit would fall. Just as he was thinking, Toru Watanabe realized that Rin Kiyono wasn't there. He looked around but still couldn't find her. In the end, Rin Kiyono walked out from the tables and chairs area in the shop, holding a bottle of green tea that she had just bought from the vending machine. The bottle was emitting cold air. Rin Kiyono frowned and tried to open the bottle, but it seemed that her hands were wet, and she couldn't open it. "Give it to me." Rin Kiyono looked at Toru Watanabe. "I can do it myself." Toru Watanabe snatched the bottle from her hand and opened the bottle cap easily. "Here. Thank you. But I can do it myself." "It's okay to borrow the strength of others occasionally, right? No need. I can do everything myself." Rin Kiyono took a sip of the cold green tea. "Just now, I only needed to wipe my hands to open it. Kiyono-san, you even know that the people make the decisions, so you should know the meaning of the ancient Chinese saying, 'A gentleman's nature is not different, and he is good at making use of things,' right? Are you looking down on me? At least I'm learning Chinese in the textbooks. Are you not going in the wrong direction? The main point of what I said just now was, do you understand this sentence or not?" "That's what I heard." Toru Watanabe ignored her. "Even people like Sun Zi need to borrow the strength of others. Confucius also said, 'When three people walk together, they are bound to learn from me.' So, Kiyono-san, you don't have to insist on not accepting the help of others. I just opened a bottle cap. Why are you talking so much nonsense? You're not cute at all. I wonder who was staring at my legs just now. Wait, you actually noticed? I thought it was hidden very well. You were actually looking at it. You're so disappointing. You pervert who likes legs." Toru Watanabe felt that the sun was very bright, and his face was a little hot. "I already said that I'm just studying your legs. Studying doesn't mean that I like it, just like working doesn't necessarily mean that I'm interested in it. Do you understand? How can you say that research is perverted? This is disrespectful to the male gynecologist. Come on. You're always talking nonsense. I have nothing to say to you." Toru Watanabe took the shaved ice and walked back to Miki Kujo's side, as if he had been wronged. After passing the colorful fruit-flavored shaved ice to her, Toru Watanabe said, "Miki, I want to compete with Rin Kiyono." Compete in what?" Miki Kujo took a sip and felt that the taste was ordinary. She took the pineapple shaved ice from Toru Watanabe. "Swim. I'm going to crush her pride. Don't embarrass me." The taste of the pineapple was still ordinary, and he was too lazy to change it. After making the report, Toru Watanabe began to look for Rin Kiyono. She sat in the dolphin circle again, and followed the artificial waves in the circle. When she floated under a coconut tree on the shore, the tree blocked the sunlight, and a few sparse rays of light passed through the gaps between the leaves and sifted light and shadow on her skin. Toru Watanabe was quite a distance away from her, and it was too difficult to shout. So he said to Miki Kujo, "I'm going to avenge you. Watch carefully." After that, he dove into the water with a splash. Miki Kujo sucked on the shaved ice with a straw in her mouth, and her eyes stared at the water through her sunglasses. When Toru Watanabe surfaced again, the dolphin circle was overturned. Rin Kiyono screamed and sank into the water with a frightened face. Miki Kujo laughed. "Toru Watanabe. Kiyono-san, this time it's my turn to compete with you. Let's see who swims to the other side first." Rin Kiyono looked at Toru Watanabe in the distance, and anger surged in her heart. She looked left and right, then grabbed the dolphin circle and threw it at him. But it was too weak, and Toru Watanabe caught it just in time. "From now on, this is mine. Give it back." Rin Kiyono held back her anger. "Aren't you childish?" "I'm a childish high school student. What's wrong with doing childish things? If you can swim faster than me, I'll give it back to you." Toru Watanabe leaned half his body on the circle, kicked the water, and swam away. Rin Kiyono stood in the same place. Seeing this scene, she was angry, but also wanted to laugh. She felt extremely uncomfortable holding it in. She could only dive to the bottom of the water, laughing as she chased after him at an extremely fast speed. "Watanabe, if I catch up to you, I'll punish you," Miki Kujo shouted from the shore. "Catch up to me? Impossible. Eat the water I used to wash my feet." Toru Watanabe splashed the white water with his feet. When he said this, Miki Kujo looked at Rin Kiyono, who was chasing after him, and laughed even more happily. Even the cheap but expensive pineapple-flavored ice cream in her hand tasted delicious. Chapter 105. After coming out of the pool and sending off Miki Kujo, the hungry Toru Watanabe went into a barbecue restaurant and had a big meal. After that, he went to a convenience store to buy a tube of toothpaste and this week's Weekly Shonen Jump. He stayed at home until 6 o'clock in the evening. In the evening, he and Miki Kujo agreed to go to the Yulanpan Ball in Hibiya Park. Every summer in Japan, there were hundreds of lively summer festivals, fireworks festivals and other festivals held one after another. Some were big and some were small. The small ones were just a party held by a kindergarten. The cute children put on their national costumes and followed behind the staff of the nearby shrine, singing and dancing in a circle on the street near the school. The big ones had tens of millions of people participating. The famous ones were the 8 Prince Festival, the Garden Festival, the Sleeping Demon Festival and so on. Japan was not big, and the transportation was convenient. If you wanted to, you could participate in any summer festival. But Miki Kujo did not have that much time, so she and Toru Watanabe could only participate in the summer festival held in East Kyoto. Tokyo was the largest city in Japan, and of course, there were countless summer festivals. Sensoji Temple, Meiji Shrine, Nogi Shrine and other tourist attractions would hold their own summer festivals. Nakano District, Shambin District, Harbor District and other districts would also hold their own summer festivals. Hibiya Park held a large-scale Yulanpan Ball every year. Although it was a pity that there was no fireworks, the scene was grand. The location was also in Chiyoda District, where Miki Kujo lived. At 6 o'clock, in order to match the festive atmosphere, Toru Watanabe put on a short-sleeved shirt inside, and a dark red shirt that Miki Kujo bought for him. Red is not good, I definitely won't wear it. This shirt is a little longer, the buttons are open, it can be used as a coat. This was the conversation when he bought it. As usual, Miki Kujo ignored Toru Watanabe's opinion. Although Toru Watanabe did not like it, he looked clean and fashionable in the mirror. His every move revealed the style of a handsome young man. Twisting his shoulders uncomfortably, he put on his watch and went out. Traffic control had already begun on the roads. Police officers with loudspeakers were directing traffic, and there were people everywhere in the station. From Toru Watanabe's residence, Kiwa to Hibiya Park, it only takes 20 minutes by tram. Men and women wearing bathrobes could be seen everywhere. Hibiya Park was already filled with rows upon rows of vendors, and the sky was filled with bright yellow lanterns. At this time, there was still a trace of light on the horizon. The lanterns looked ordinary, but looking at the endless number of them, it would be very spectacular at night. The outdoor music stage in Hibiya Park imitated the architectural features of ancient Greece. The overall layout was in the shape of a semicircle, with a stage and screen wall in the center. A group of underground idols were dancing on it. From Toru Watanabe's point of view, the middle-aged man in the support uniform below the stage danced much better than them. The rest of the audience seemed to be focused on this point as well. The girls dancing in the front row of the stage were facing the enchanting middle-aged man's fans, but they were calm and composed as they danced according to their own rhythm. When Toru Watanabe came, she didn't know why, but when she looked at the fans in front of her again, she would turn her face away. Her face was flushed with shyness, and her movements began to change. Occasionally, she would pretend to be angry and puff up her face cutely. When the middle-aged man saw that he made his idol laugh, he shook his butt and touched her thigh with even more vigor. Toru Watanabe stood on the outermost steps of the music stage and watched with great interest. He thought that if he sent the middle-aged man to Thailand, he would definitely be able to debut as a girl group. What are you looking at? You're so serious. A familiar faint fragrance enveloped Toru Watanabe. Toru Watanabe didn't turn around. He pointed at the middle-aged man in the support uniform and said with a smile, "Is it fun to watch him dance?" Miki Kujo looked in the direction he pointed and couldn't help but laugh as if she thought of something. "Not bad. Right?" Toru Watanabe said proudly as if he was introducing a new child to his friends. Next time you make me angry, I'll punish you by making you dance in front of me. Wait. Something's wrong. Very strange. Why do I have to dance like this? Toru Watanabe turned around and saw Miki Kujo smiling, and the rest of his words couldn't come out. Her long hair was tied up, revealing her fair neck. She was wearing a black bathrobe embroidered with flowers and butterflies, and a rouge belt around her slender waist. Her breasts were full, just like the first time he saw her in a luxurious red kimono. Toru Watanabe once again had the illusion that Miki Kujo was a beautiful princess. What's wrong? Strange. Miki Kujo asked with a smile. Miki, you're even more beautiful today than summer in Sawamura. How beautiful is that? After I left, I thought of your beauty every day. Miki Kujo showed a satisfied expression. You're also very handsome today. It's mainly because you have good taste. Toru Watanabe talked about the clothes and himself, and very naturally held her slender hand. Your taste isn't bad either. Miki Kujo let him hold her hand and replied. Toru Watanabe suddenly felt that the two of them were too silly to keep praising each other like this, and he couldn't help but laugh. Miki Kujo's face also bloomed into a smile. At this time, the sun had already set, and all the lights around were extinguished. It was pitch black, and the shadows of the trees swayed. Under the night sky, Hibiya Park had become a completely different world. Lanterns were hung from the rope in the middle of the park, connected to the high platform in the middle of the park. The lights of the street vendors stretched endlessly, until the end of the road. It seemed that all the liveliness and lights of Tokyo had settled here that night. It's about time to go shopping. You invited me here. If it's not fun, I'll punish you. I won't dance even if I die. Your body, you don't have the final say. The two of them walked hand in hand toward the night market. Drawing lots, roasting corn, fishing for goldfish, the fried noodle shop owners yelling. In front of the takoyaki stall, there were children stomping their feet after being scalded by the freshly baked meatballs. The 9 beautiful concubines' wooden clogs stepped on the stone pavement, making crisp clicking sounds. What do you want to eat? Toru Watanabe asked. This. Miki Kujo pointed at the cotton candy stall. In the end, she was only interested in the process of making cotton candy. The cotton candy ate 2 mouthfuls, and thought that it was too sugary, so she gave it to Toru Watanabe. Let's go eat shaved ice. It's a bit hot to wear a bathrobe in this weather. She looked at the shaved ice stall not far away and said, okay. Miki Kujo ordered the blue Hawaiian flavor. Toru Watanabe originally wanted the strawberry flavor, but looked at the cotton candy in his hand and decided not to. 600 yuan. Here. After paying, Toru Watanabe looked at the stall owner who was starting to make. He took a bite of the cotton candy, and his eyes were attracted by the mask stall next door. Oh. Toru Watanabe moved 2 steps and looked at the wooden boards full of masks. The stall owner wearing a gorilla mask said, 800 yuan each. Miki Kujo glanced at it and said, What's the point of these toys? You don't understand. Boss, give me the card face to make this. After receiving the mask, Toru Watanabe put it on his face and pointed the cotton candy in front of his chest. I'm here. Oh. The little boy and the boys beside him gave him a look that said, This action is worth 10 points. Miki Kujo looked at him as if he was an idiot. Only on this matter did she unexpectedly agree with Rin Kiyono. Isn't it cool? This is a mask. Toru Watanabe asked in disbelief. It's not a matter of being cool or not, it's very ugly. Miki Kujo crossed her arms. I don't believe that you won't be tempted. Toru Watanabe switched the cotton candy to his left hand and raised his right hand. Miki, I will protect your smile. I will never forgive the guy who hurt you. Transform. Miki Kujo turned around and said to the owner of the shaved ice shop, Hurry up. Okay, it'll be ready soon. Don't be like this. I know the mask will be sad. Boss, I want this fox mask too. Come Miki, put it on for you. Take it away, I don't want it, it's so ugly. Toru Watanabe hugged Miki Kujo, and finally put the white fox mask on her. But she refused to put it on her face no matter what, and finally reluctantly agreed to put it on the side of her head. After getting the shaved ice, The two masked people looked at the children's water balls for a while. A large basin of water was filled with all kinds of colorful water balls, and each water ball had a thin string attached to it. The children used the hooks given by the stall owner to hook the water balls they liked, and brought them home after hooking them. But the hooks were very small, and the strings were very thin. With the patience of the children, this was definitely a profitable business. The profit is too small, it's not worth it. After Toru Watanabe said that, Miki Kujo commented, "I'm just chatting with you, we're not talking about making money. Here you go." Seeing Miki Kujo walk towards the takoyaki, Toru Watanabe, who had finally finished the cotton candy, took the shaved ice with half of it. He scooped up a large spoonful of shaved ice, put it into his mouth and chewed. "It's so cold." After Toru Watanabe finished the shaved ice, Miki Kujo held the box of takoyaki. "Let me give you a taste." "No." Toru Watanabe looked around. "I'll go buy some roasted corn, I like that." When Toru Watanabe was happily munching on the corn, Miki Kujo, who had eaten 2 takoyaki, said, "Exchange with me, I want your corn." "Why? I'm tired of takoyaki." "No, I mean if you want to eat corn, we can go buy it. There's no need to eat my leftovers." Miki Kujo smiled without a trace of a smile. "So you've been treating my food as leftovers?" "No, While Toru Watanabe was stuttering, Miki Kujo stuffed the box of takoyaki into his hands and took the corn from his hands. "Uh-huh." Miki Kujo nodded. "Not bad, as expected, things stolen from others are the best. On the contrary, eating other people's leftovers is the worst." Toru Watanabe reached out to wipe the corn stuck to Miki Kujo's mouth. "But seeing that she's a beautiful girl, I'll pretend that I'm eating with relish." Miki Kujo rolled her eyes at Toru Watanabe, who stuffed the corn from the corner of her mouth into his mouth. As they walked and stopped, they met many students from Kanagawa High School. There were even a few girls from the wind department who were wearing school uniforms and carrying instruments. They must have just finished practicing in school and came directly to participate in the summer festival. "They're still practicing during the Yulanpen holiday. That's amazing," Toru Watanabe commented as they passed by. He thought to himself, "Admitting that others are amazing is one of my amazing qualities. I haven't said this in a long time. I miss it." "Is that so?" Miki Kujo did not comment. With their skills, this level of effort is necessary if they want to enter the national competition. "That's true. There's a shooting game over there. Let's go play." "No." "Why?" 3 shots cost 300 yuan, but 10 shots only cost 700 yuan. I guarantee that I'll get a prize worth 7,000 yuan and make tonight's event profitable. Who knows how many people have touched that kind of thing? It's disgusting. Then watch me play. No. I'm betting my life on a shooting game tonight. I must show you my handsomeness and then have sex with you. It's useless to say anything. I'm not going. There are a lot of stinky men there. The air stinks. Toru Watanabe originally thought that this was a rare opportunity to show off his proficient shooting skill, which he did not need at all. In the end, it was not even as good as the master massage. He could help his parents adjust their bodies, prevent spondylosis, show off anytime and anywhere, and at the same time take advantage of Miki Kujo. Damn it. In the end, the two of them only played goldfish to trick children. Hoop throwing, darts, and other games that Toru Watanabe thought he could play, he did not play any of them. As a dignified transmigrator, Toru Watanabe's spoils of war were only 2 goldfish, 1 red and 1 black, and a cheap plastic fan, a gift from a roadside salesman. It was a great humiliation. The two of them walked to the high platform in the middle of the park and watched women and children in bathrobes dancing to the accompaniment of Charcoal Pit Festival. Miki Kujo licked her apple candy and fanned herself with a fan. Toru Watanabe ate her leftover taiyaki, while his other hand held the goldfish and the chocolate banana that he really did not want to eat. After watching the Yulanpan dance for a long time, the two of them walked to the corner of the park. There was a clump of bamboo with many wind chimes hanging from it. On the side of the stall, one could spend 500 yuan to write a wish and hang it on the wind chimes. Only those couples with abnormal brains would do such a thing. So Toru Watanabe took out 1,000 yuan. Instead of asking for such things, it's better to ask for me. Miki Kujo indifferently said the synonym for I am God. No, what she meant was, God is not as good as her. I've already bought it. Then write for me. Pray that Miki-sama will always love me. So humble. Then you have to write. Pray that Watanabe-sama will always love me. Do you want to die? I don't want to die, I just want fairness. As the successor of the Kujo family, one of the most important people in Japan, I'll tell you the truth today. There is no fairness, give up. Finally, Toru Watanabe hung the wind chimes with the words pray that Miki-sama will always love me on the bamboo. After hanging it, he secretly glanced at Miki Kujo's wind chimes. The two of them were tired of strolling, so they walked away from the crowd and went to the corner of the park. Toru Watanabe whispered teasingly, Your mouth said no, but your body is very honest. Miki Kujo turned her face and glared at him, then handed the fan to him and ordered, Fan me. Yes, yes. Toru Watanabe gently fanned himself while staring at Miki Kujo, who was eating her apple candy and looking at the distance. Under her fox-like face, under her long hair, her snow-white skin was bathed in the light, with a faint blush. Toru Watanabe's heart was filled with a fervent emotion, and his breathing became rapid. Miki. The words that came out of his mouth were slightly trembling. Miki Kujo turned her head and met Toru Watanabe's fiery gaze. There was a faint smile on her mouth, and her clear dark eyes flashed with the cunning of a successful plan. What's wrong? She replied lazily, but her voice was a little hoarser than she had imagined. Toru Watanabe put his hand on her bathrobe belt and moved his body closer. Miki Kujo looked up, and the two of them kissed. This summer festival was filled with the sour and sweet taste of apple candy. Chapter 106. After leisurely spending the second day of the potted Yulan holiday, the wind instrument department welcomed 3 days and 2 nights of dormitory training. The gathering was set at 7 in the morning. For Toru Watanabe, who ran in the streets and alleys of the Shiya residential area at 6 every day, the time was more than enough. In addition to a change of clothes, he also brought a few books to pass the time. In everyone's excitement, the school bus left the city, and after an hour on the highway, they arrived at the dormitory. Toru Watanabe twisted his neck and looked up. The curtains were closed, and the air conditioning was on. Most of the people were sleeping in the bus. He didn't know if it was because of the 2-day holiday, or because he woke up too early. When Aona Koizumi opened her mouth to wake everyone up, he got off the bus first. As soon as he got off the bus, Toru Watanabe smelled the strong smell of grass. This was a place similar to a resort. The house was also built of wood and surrounded by a green forest. Aona Koizumi, who woke everyone up, got off the bus first. Looking at him stretching, she said, Very comfortable, right? Yeah. I feel like I'm back in my hometown. The air in Tokyo is terrible. Toru Watanabe took a deep breath. At your age, you're already concerned about the quality of the air? Aona Koizumi said with a smile. When teacher first came to Tokyo, he only thought, so prosperous. I'll stay here for a lifetime. When did teacher come to Tokyo? Was it also in high school? Rin Kiyono, who got off the bus, asked. University. Teacher's junior high school grades were not good, so he could only go to the public high school in Maki. But I heard from Miyazaki-sensei that Koizumi-sensei was very good at studying and was admitted to the Waseda Institute of Education. Miyazaki-sensei, why did she tell you everything? Aona Koizumi helplessly sighed. It was from the first semester of the second year of high school. Teacher began to study seriously, which shocked everyone around him. After saying that, she said to the members of the performance club who had already come down. Teacher only started working hard in the second year of high school, but also managed to get into Waseda from a high school with an average deviation of 53. So even if everyone has a poor foundation and started late, as long as you work hard, you will definitely be able to get the national award. Teacher believes in you. Thank you, teacher. We'll do our best. I will definitely get the national reward. Okay. Aona Koizumi nodded encouragingly. Then let's hurry up and start moving. Yes. Everyone first placed their luggage in their respective dormitories, then unloaded the musical instruments from the truck. It was only at 9:30 that everything finally settled down. Everyone gathered at the concert hall. Before lunch, practice the assigned song and the self-selected song 10 times, Rin Kiyono announced. Ah! Everyone below cried out in anguish. As the accompanying teacher, Aona Koizumi sat in the corner of the hall and encouraged, "Everyone do your best. Teacher will also accompany you. These 10 times must reach a level that I approve of. I know that you have rested for 2 days, so your hands are a bit rusty, but that has nothing to do with me." After saying that, Rin Kiyono looked at Toru Watanabe. "Let's begin." Toru Watanabe breathed into the whistle and blew a long note. The others quickly picked up their instruments and followed the oboe. March for Endless Dreams, first movement. Rin Kiyono raised her baton, and everyone inhaled at the same time. In the next moment, the magnificent sound of the instruments resounded throughout the concert hall. Amidst the cries of "Do it again," "No, let's not eat today," everyone played 10 times until 3 o'clock in the afternoon. At this time, everyone was already overloaded. Even Rin Kiyono's forehead was covered in a layer of sweat. "We've finally recovered to the level before the holidays." She raised her snow-white wrist and looked at the dial. The meal time is from 3 to 3:30, and the shower time is also 30 minutes. The evening training is from 4 to 11 o'clock. Dismissed. Everyone didn't care about the more difficult training schedule at night. They collapsed in their seats, but were immediately controlled by their appetite and walked to the cafeteria. Kiyono classmate is so strict. This is the first time I've seen this side of her. Aona Koizumi, who had been hungry for a long time, whispered to Toru Watanabe. "It's more than that. Koizumi, sensei, if you weren't a teacher, I guarantee that you would be scolded just by sitting there. You can't even straighten your back, don't be a human. Close your legs, are you a boy?" Aona Koizumi was amused by Toru Watanabe's clumsy imitation and let out a girlish laugh. "What are you talking about?" Rin Kiyono had unknowingly walked to their side. "I'm talking about how much it will cost to have such good facilities and accommodation. Why do I hear someone talking about me?" "It's nothing." Toru Watanabe didn't even bat an eyelid. Seeing that Rin Kiyono wasn't going to let Toru Watanabe off the hook, Aona Koizumi hurriedly said, "Kiyono classmate, you're fully responsible for the accommodation this time. How much did it cost? I'm also curious." Rin Kiyono first glared at Toru Watanabe, who was spouting nonsense, and then whispered to Aona Koizumi. The school paid a portion of the cost, plus the expenses for the wind department and the human observation department. The cost is just right. Wait. Toru Watanabe was a little concerned about some of the words. There's a fee for the human observation department? Where's my share? Your memory is only 1M, no 1K? I just said that I'm using it. Kiyono classmate, before using it, did you inform the members? Now you know. Teacher, I'm reporting Rin Kiyono using my real name. I strongly request for a new department head. What should I do? Aona Koizumi was in a difficult position. Our school advocates for student autonomy. Watanabe, you can discuss with Kiyono classmate about who should be the department head. Discuss. Toru Watanabe looked at Rin Kiyono. Real name reporting? Rin Kiyono sneered. It seems that I have to report someone's glorious deeds to Miki Kujo using my real name. Department head Kiyono, I'm the deputy department head that you personally promoted. There's no one who supports you more than me. In the future, I'll continue to hold your great banner high and carry out all of your development plans. Is that so? Of course. I'll firmly uphold all of Department Head Kiyono's decisions. I'll follow all of Department Head Kiyono's instructions. I'll listen to all of Department Head Kiyono's orders. Rin Kiyono sighed and said, I finally know why you're able to hang out with Kujo. Aona Koizumi was amused by this and said with a smile, All right, let's hurry up and eat. The three of them walked towards the dining hall. Forget about the department head. When are you going to pay me the department head? Oh right, I'm not only a member of the Human Observation Department, but also a member of the Wind Instrument Department. Remember to give me two. Watanabe classmate, as a boy, You're really too long-winded. Teacher, look at her. You guys have a really good relationship. That's not true. It's bad. It's basically a class conflict. Toru Watanabe denied. Rin Kiyono was silent, as if she didn't want to speak anymore. Plates of food were laid out on the dining table. Everyone could choose 3 of their favorite dishes, plus a portion of rice and miso soup. Toru Watanabe ate hamburgers, fried pork chops, and salad. Rin Kiyono and Aono Koizumi politely declined his set meal. Both of them chose food that was just enough to fill their stomachs, and didn't have a lot of calories. Rest time passed in a flash, and the evening practice began under Rin Kiyono's strict guidance. Imperfections were pointed out one after another. Missing intervals, irregular beats, the volume ratio between instruments, the timing to increase the volume, the way to play the melody, the way to adjust the timbre. As soon as there was a problem, it would immediately lead to dozens of practice sessions. Rin Kiyono didn't have any special skills to guide the wind instrument department. What she relied on was her ears that could always hear Toru Watanabe badmouthing her, as well as repeated practice. Repeating the same bar was very dry and boring, but in the process the stability of the song improved. The members of the wind instrument department were already exhausted, but relying on the anticipation of the national competition, and the fact that the song was indeed becoming smoother, they persisted in the monotonous practice without any complaints. When they finished the evening practice, it was already past 11 o'clock when they returned to their room. After a tiring day, the boys, who were originally talking about playing cards, going online to crusade against monsters, and talking about girls, immediately fell asleep as soon as they touched the quilt. Toru Watanabe took his wallet and walked out of the room. The amount of exercise during the day wasn't worth mentioning to him, and 11 o'clock wasn't his sleeping time. The corridor was dark, and the surroundings were silent. Following the emergency exit's green light, Toru Watanabe walked towards the vending machine. After eating mapo tofu at night and practicing all the time, his throat was very thirsty. The vending machine in the corner was shining with a cheap white light, and a few moths were flying around it. He didn't want to drink flavorful drinks at night, so he bought a bottle of pure water. He gulped down the water and walked toward the concert hall in the dark. When he turned on the lights in the concert hall, he saw that most of the seats were placed with instruments, and large instruments such as the bassoon were standing on the ground. Under the light, the instruments reflected a dazzling light. Toru Watanabe sat down in his seat, put the bout bottle by his feet, picked up the oboe, tuned it and played. The melody, like that of a gospel singer in a church, wandered around the empty concert hall. He didn't like musical instruments, and he wasn't interested in the national competition. He just wanted to see if he could improve the oboe to the level of transcendence before the national competition ended. Because after the competition, he probably wouldn't touch the oboe again for the rest of his life. After playing a section, Toru Watanabe began to think about how to play better than before. With this talent, he could continue to improve. In the end, the oboe in his hands could produce a beautiful sound that no one had ever produced before or since. Toru Watanabe picked up the bout bottle and drank while thinking about playing techniques, emotional expression, emotions, and so on. Ideas for improvement kept popping up. Just as he put down the bottle, put the whistle in his mouth again, and was about to play again, footsteps came from outside the concert hall. There's still someone here at this time? Tamamo, there's no shortage of hard-working people in this world. The two of them pushed the door open and entered. Watanabe. Compared to Yoshimi Tamamo's surprise, Rin Kiyono didn't seem surprised at all. She nodded and said, "Good evening." "Good evening." Toru Watanabe looked at the two beautiful girls who were wearing skimpy clothes. Rin Kiyono was wearing a long-sleeved hooded top, and the school's summer sports shorts. Yoshimi Tamamo was much prettier. She was wearing a short-sleeved shirt and hot pants. Even the air felt a bit warmer. "Why are you here so late?" he asked. "Tamamo wants to practice a bit more, and asked me to help. I can't sleep in an unfamiliar environment, so—" "Wait a minute, don't say it out loud." Yoshimi Tamamo shyly interrupted Rin Kiyono. Rin Kiyono looked at her in confusion. Yoshimi Tamamo whispered, "Because after training, if you practice in the middle of the night, Won't you be called a hypocrite? It's too embarrassing. Toru Watanabe was speechless. He was serious. It's actually the truth. Rin Kiyono seemed to be shocked. It took her a while to speak. She massaged her temples as if she couldn't stand it. I really don't understand what you're thinking. I was thinking of using you as an example tomorrow to encourage everyone to practice harder. Ah. No. I'll be laughed at. Yoshimi Tamamo waved her hands repeatedly. Toru Watanabe was reminded of himself being forced to sing when he went out with Osamu Kanai and the others. Not everyone who was tone-deaf could sing with the mentality of killing 1,000 enemies and harming 800 of their own. Even in a place where everyone was friends, it was the same. You can use me as an example, Toru Watanabe said. Rin Kiyono glanced at him. Even if they want to practice, they won't be willing to stay alone with you in the concert hall at night. That's not necessarily true. At least Senior Mai wouldn't dislike him. Rin Kiyono didn't want to waste the precious time of the night. She ignored Toru Watanabe and said to Yoshimi Tamamo, "Okay, I won't tell anyone. Hurry up and start practicing." "It's a promise." Yoshimi Tamamo walked back to her seat. When she passed by Toru Watanabe, she gave him a look that said, "If you dare to tell anyone, you're dead." Toru Watanabe glanced at her chest, which didn't seem to be wearing any underwear, and nodded with a sincere expression. "They're really big, and they seem to be very soft as they bounce around." Yoshimi Tamamo snorted with satisfaction. Toru Watanabe put the whistle in his mouth and played the oboe with his current state of mind while looking at Rin Kiyono out of the corner of his eye. Because they were too small, he couldn't tell if they were wearing anything. Their clothes were also very conservative. The two girls who came out in the middle of the night had no idea that the boy was instinctively judging them and seriously guiding and practicing. "Tamamo-san, your performance is good, but there are still some details that you need to pay attention to. For example, here, you need to imagine that you're lost in a dream where there's nothing. Yeah. Here, when you walk out of the dream, you need to be happy with the melody. It's not enough to just play according to the score. Try practicing." Yoshimi Tamamo practiced until 11:40 p.m., when she couldn't help but yawn. Rin Kiyono told her to go back and rest early, so that it wouldn't affect tomorrow's practice. "Thank you, Kiyono-san." "No problem." "Then good night, yeah." After Yoshimi Tamamo left, Rin Kiyono glanced at Toru Watanabe, who was still practicing. "When are you leaving?" "You go first. I'll turn off the lights." Rin Kiyono nodded but didn't leave. Instead, she went to the trumpet team's seat and picked up a silver-plated trumpet. Toru Watanabe glanced at it. "By the way, didn't you say that you were a trumpet player?" "Yeah." "How good are you?" Rin Kiyono looked at the trumpet and answered without turning her head. "I get the hang of everything very quickly. Plus, I've been practicing since I was a child. It won't be a problem for me to become a professional wind band player." "You're that good? Can you attract pigeons?" "What nonsense are you talking about? Can't you do it? It seems that Barry is still the best." "Barry?" Rin Kiyono frowned slightly. "I've never heard of a trumpet player by that name. The male lead of City in the Sky. He used a trumpet to attract pigeons." Seino Rin stared at Toru Watanabe, who was acting as if it was the most natural thing in the world. His expression was as cold and terrifying as a polar bear's. "If you keep talking nonsense, I'll tell everyone that you forced yourself on my waist." "I'm sorry, I was wrong. There was a problem with my attitude. I shouldn't have joked with you like that." "Humph." Rin Kiyono turned around and walked out of the concert hall. Toru Watanabe decided that he would practice the oboe with the goal of attracting pigeons. Sooner or later he would play the oboe in the school's corridor and attract the pigeons of the Suka shrine. He would make Rin Kiyono stunned and realize that he wasn't talking nonsense. "Come on, baby," Toru Watanabe said to the oboe in his hand, and continued practicing. Chapter 107. On the morning of the second day of training, Toru Watanabe woke up earlier than usual. Looking at the time, it was only 5:30 a.m. The room was air-conditioned, and the other three boys were wrapped tightly in their blankets. Toru Watanabe walked out of the room softly, stretched, and came to the training ground. There were a few wooden tables and chairs, which were covered with dew. The morning air was cold. Toru Watanabe took a deep breath, and the clean air instantly filled his lungs. Closing his eyes, he felt as if he had returned to his hometown. If it wasn't for the music department, he would be in the mountains and rivers of the village, catching fish and birds. He did a few chest exercises, stretched his legs, and ran into the forest. The rising sun shone through the dense branches, forming pillars of light in the forest, and the chirping of various birds could be heard in the distance. After running for a full 15 minutes, Toru Watanabe heard the sound of flowing water. He ran all the way to the riverside before stopping. This was an open riverbank, and the water was so clear that he could see the bottom. The bottom of the river was covered with pebbles. Toru Watanabe scooped up a handful of water and splashed it on his face. The river water was so cool that it was even slightly chilly. After all, it was not even 6 a.m. in the morning. After washing his face a few times, Toru Watanabe raised his head and stared at the big guy across the river. "Good morning." The black bear looked at him, ignored him, and continued to drink from the river. Toru Watanabe naturally got up and walked slowly away from the river. This time he was honest. Although he believed that with the healing potion and fruit knife, he still chose the man-made path and did not run around in the forest. Just as he walked a few steps back, he saw the words, "Attention! Bears are out!" with a big red slogan. He jogged back to the training ground, and when he heard the sound of a musical instrument not far from the training ground, his heart was finally at ease. As long as there was someone, he was confident that he would run faster, and that the bear would not eat him. Just kidding. Under the circumstances of not exposing the system, he would still choose to help if he could. Toru Watanabe slowed down and walked towards the sound of the musical instrument. The bass was steady, and the melody was precise and full of emotion. The notes were like a stream splashed by the sun, sparkling and dazzling. Toru Watanabe immediately guessed who was practicing there. Even if it was the same instrument, the sound produced by each person would be completely different. In the upper bass horn section, only Masahi could produce such a beautiful sound. He raised his left wrist and looked at the time. It was 10 minutes past 6. There was still some time before the training started at 8. Early training was indeed Masahi's style. After taking a few steps forward, the dense green forest became sparse, and their field of vision suddenly widened. The gold-plated bass horn reflected a dazzling light under the rising sun. The girl holding it stood there, her silky black hair cascading down her back, her arms slender and fair. It was too beautiful. Toru Watanabe imagined this scene as a young musician who was favored by the goddess of music, Muse. One morning in the forest, she specially came from Olympus to give him encouragement and inspiration. The sound gradually faded. Masahi's sparkling red lips left the mouthpiece, and she turned to look at Toru Watanabe, who was standing beside her. "Good morning, Toru." Masahi slowly bloomed into a smile. If Aoi Ichiki or the other members of the upper bass horn section were here, they would definitely suspect that they had met the goddess. "Good morning, Minami." Toru Watanabe walked forward. "You're very good. You've improved a lot." "Yes, I've been working hard recently. Look." Just when Toru Watanabe thought that Masahi was going to play again, her right thumb and index finger hooked around the thinner part of the upper bass horn and moved up and down. "Toru, look, this is my hand." The sun rose from the east, and the girl's hand was illuminated by the sun's holy light. "I bought a disc with $1,980 and learned a lot of knowledge. Also, this is... Senpai, I'm going to take a shower. See you later." Before Masahi's mouth touched the upper bass horn, Toru Watanabe quickly walked to the main hall. He took back his words. Toru Watanabe didn't receive the favor of Muse, but the favor of Aphrodite, the goddess of love and beauty, and also the goddess of desire. When Toru Watanabe finished his shower and went to the dining hall for breakfast, many members of the upper bass horn section were already sitting there, chatting and laughing. He brought breakfast and sat opposite Aona Koizumi. "Good morning, senpai." "Good morning." Aona Koizumi glanced at Toru Watanabe's hair that he didn't dry because it was too hot. Have you taken a shower? Yes. I went out for a run and sweated a lot. Watanabe is the most self-disciplined person Senpai has ever seen. I am indeed self-disciplined. Toru Watanabe's self-discipline was clearly written on the system bar. Aona Koizumi was amused by his words and was about to say something when she saw Rin Kiyono in the distance carrying a tray and planning to eat alone in the corner, so she called her over. Good morning, Koizumi-senpai. Rin Kiyono looked sleepy and sat down beside Toru Watanabe. Good morning, Kiyono classmate. Aona Koizumi nodded. Toru Watanabe looked at Rin Kiyono, who had already started eating. What about me? Rin Kiyono raised her half-closed eyes, glanced at him, and then looked back at her bowl. Hey, it's too much to ignore me, Aona Koizumi said with a smile. Only when you have a good relationship would you be so rude. You two get along pretty well, senpai. Rin Kiyono retorted. Except when you have a good relationship. If you have a bad relationship with the other party, you will also use the rude method of ignoring them. You mean you are ignoring me because you have a bad relationship with me? The distance between us is too close. Watanabe classmate, please stay away from me. I'm afraid your saliva will splash into my bowl. Sad. Toru Watanabe poked at his bowl and said without interest. Do you know how many hardships I went through in order to welcome you in the morning? A life and death struggle, and a very difficult test, so that I can stand here with a healthy body and mind. Is that so? You've worked hard. Rin Kiyono replied without the slightest interest. You two really haven't changed at all. From the first time you met, you got along like this. Aona Koizumi sighed with a smile. That's not true. Toru Watanabe complained. This guy's attitude wasn't so bad at the beginning. Rin Kiyono smiled and seemed to be in better spirits. After breakfast, when they walked into the concert hall, Toru Watanabe secretly glanced at Mayasahi. Mayasahi held the bass horn in her hand, her delicate face expressionless. Looking at her clear eyes, Toru Watanabe suspected that the holy light in the morning might just be a dream. After looking at the black bear, it was inevitable to have hallucinations. When he retracted his gaze, Yoshimi Tamamo from the trombone group shot a warning look, but Toru Watanabe ignored it. After the morning practice, the others went to eat lunch. Toru Watanabe stayed in the concert hall alone to continue practicing. He wanted to apply the inspiration given by the muse in the morning to music. Since July, only a month and a half had passed. He had been working hard toward a goal: to play whatever tone he wanted to play. The recent high-intensity practice made the actual performance and the tone in his mind gradually overlap, and the gap between the two was narrowing little by little. For example, this time, the sound of the oboe extended infinitely, clear and transparent, like a goddess with the sun behind her back, sighing lovingly to the pilgrims. The summer air was filled with a melodious and sweet rhythm, lingering in the air. This was a masterpiece that had reached the peak of perfection. Toru Watanabe put down the oboe with satisfaction and was about to get up to eat when he was startled by Mayasahi standing at the door. Oh no, because of practice, he forgot that Mayasahi was always the first to return to the concert hall after lunch. Senpai, it's very nice. Thank you. I'll go find you tonight. Find me? Yes. Where are you going? Toru Watanabe asked. Your dorm. My dorm? When? 1 o'clock. Wait. Toru Watanabe first confirmed the conversation between the two in his mind, and then asked, at that time, why are you looking for me? To watch the film with you. The dreamlike scene in the morning suddenly became real. Toru Watanabe asked tentatively, 1980? Yes. Mayasahi nodded obediently. Toru Watanabe looked troubled. Senpai, thank you for sharing, but I'm not interested in these. I'll go find you tonight. I have a girlfriend. Just don't let her know. Mayasahi had a matter-of-fact look on her face. Toru Watanabe heard Yoshimi Tamamo's voice coming from outside the concert hall. Senpai, how about this? Don't come, I'll go find you, okay? Mayasahi tilted her head and looked at him in confusion. She nodded and said, yes. Toru Watanabe hurried out of the concert hall, and bumped into Yoshimi Tamamo and Rin Kiyono. Toru Watanabe went to the cafeteria and bit into the crispy fried prawns. His mind was filled with the conversation just now. There was no time for him to refute. In order to prevent Masahi from really going to the boys' dorm in the middle of the night, he subconsciously said that he would go to the girls' dorm. He definitely couldn't stand her up. If he didn't see anyone at 1 o'clock, Masahi might come directly. The only thing he could be thankful for now was that the probability of being discovered was lower, if he was the one sneaking in. What is Asako Hanada doing? Why hasn't she dealt with Masahi yet? Toru Watanabe looked around the cafeteria and soon found Asako Hanada, who was sitting with Aoi Ichiki and the other base members. She was petite and cute, and she was happily eating curry with a spoon. She's keeping an eye on me. Why isn't she doing the same? Toru Watanabe stirred the miso soup, took a sip and put it down immediately. No wonder Japan was surrounded by the sea. Salt was cheap. After the afternoon and evening training, Toru Watanabe stayed in the concert hall alone until 12 o'clock. When he went back after taking a shower, the boys in the same room were all asleep. Lying on the tatami, he could see the faint outline of the lamp above his head through the moonlight shining through the window. His mood was both agitated and irritated. Toru Watanabe knew that it would be very dangerous if he continued like this. If Miki Kujo found out about this, Masahi would definitely be in danger. However, Masahi's attacks were full of, "I don't care what you do, I'll do it" rampage. Was he really going to have to wait until she graduated? While Toru Watanabe was thinking, the time was approaching. Maybe it was because of his mentality, but even though he only needed to say that he was going to the toilet, he still carefully lifted the quilt and stood up without making any sound. The air conditioning was on full blast, so it was a bit cold in the room. Toru Watanabe stepped over a boy who was tightly wrapped in the quilt and tiptoed out of the room. It was as quiet as last night. Other than his footsteps, there was only the faint sound of electricity from the vending machine. It might also be the sound of refrigeration. Although he was getting better at physics, his understanding of the vending machine was limited to where to put in the coins and where to get the drinks. As he approached the girls' dormitory, he took off his slippers, held them in his hand, and walked down the stairs to Masahi's room. There was a slit on the sliding door, just as they had agreed on last night. Toru Watanabe couldn't help but gulp. He pushed the door open and quietly crawled in like a cat about to pounce on a mouse. The layout of the room was no different from the boys' dormitory. There were 4 tatami mats and a short table. The only difference was that other than the hairdryer and other items that only girls would bring from afar, there was also a faint fragrance in the room. As Toru Watanabe's eyes adjusted to the dim light in the room, he saw Masahi, who was hiding under the quilt and playing with her phone, waving at him on the innermost tatami mats. The phone is too bright. And why is it in the innermost part? The dormitories were divided according to grade, but most of the third-year students had been driven away by Rin Kiyono. Including the former member who played the oboe, there were only 10 third-year students in total, which was the smallest of the 3 grades. Masahi's dormitory was probably one of the 2 full dormitories. There were people on each of the 4 tatami mats. Toru Watanabe used his elbows and knees to hold his breath. It wasn't until Toru Watanabe crawled into the quilt that he gasped for air. Before he could even breathe, Masahi, who was lying on the side, immediately put on his headphones for him. The sound of a music game came from the headphones, but it soon disappeared. Toru Watanabe looked over and saw her switch to photos on her phone. She then clicked on a video with an amazing cover. The 2 of them curled up under the quilt, using the same pillow. They didn't say a word. They each had a headphone and watched a movie from 1980. The first thing that appeared was a small high school classroom with only a dozen people. Not to mention the girls, the boys were obviously at the age of going to college. If they were a few years older, it wouldn't be a problem for them to go to college for the elderly. The industry needed young people. This was Toru Watanabe's opinion of the beginning. The next part of the story was very simple. The teacher taught the students who didn't have any textbooks, and the male and female protagonists played tricks in the back. The girl tried to trick the boy who was paying attention in class, causing the boy to be called up by the teacher to answer questions in a rather embarrassing way. Toru Watanabe looked at my Asahi on the other side of the pillow and saw that she was staring at the screen motionlessly. "Senpai," he said very softly. "Can I go back now? It won't be good if I'm found out." "How do you feel?" my Asahi asked. At this time, it was already the end of class in the movie. Because the next class was physical education, the male and female protagonists hid in the cupboard in the female locker room in various positions. This cause and effect relationship was established in the industry. There are too many movies like this nowadays. The plot is cliché. The director should pay attention to the details. Not to mention making the male and female protagonists' tricks more subtle. At least decorate the classroom more like a classroom, right? Yes. My Asahi nodded. And this locker room, the cameraman is very unprofessional. The camera is all focused on the female students' upper bodies. He doesn't understand the temptation of the curves of their legs at all. It seemed that it didn't resonate. My Asahi didn't say anything. As the plot became more and more explicit, my Asahi's delicate snow-white skin gradually turned red. "Che." Toru Watanabe turned his head and saw my Asahi staring at him with watery eyes. She didn't hide her red cheeks at all. "Senior, that's enough. I really want to go back." My Asahi threw her phone aside and pressed her whole body against Toru Watanabe. She buried her head in Toru Watanabe's collar and kept breathing deeply. In the headphones, the girl's joyful laughter and the boy's painful moans continued to come. One after another, one after another. The air in the quilt gradually became turbid. This level of movie couldn't affect Toru Watanabe at all. However, there was a senior with disheveled clothes next to him. This was much more exciting than 1980. Even if the air conditioning was turned on, it was still hot and sweaty. There was a slight feeling of suffocation. Toru Watanabe even suspected that there was only one breath of air left in the quilt. He could only breathe when my Asahi was panting. After a while, the air was filled with a touch of moisture. Toru Watanabe swallowed. Because of the lack of oxygen, his brain lost control of his body. His hand unconsciously reached under my Asahi's clothes. My Asahi's breathing became more and more rapid. She didn't even notice that her headphones had fallen off. The soft voice melted in the warm summer night air. The sudden voice woke Toru Watanabe up. "No, I have to go. I can't do anything to hurt Miki Kujo." The main reason was that if this continued, he would definitely make this dorm smell like squid. "Senior, I really have to go." "Don't you want to?" "Yes, of course," Toru Watanabe said with difficulty. "But many things can't be done just because you want to. Do you understand, senior?" "Call me my Asahi made a sound of satisfaction. It seemed that she didn't intend to understand Toru Watanabe's words at all. "I don't care. I have to go before she recovers her strength." Toru Watanabe used his master-level kickboxing skills to nimbly roll out of the damp quilt. The cold air hit him in the face. Toru Watanabe quietly lay on the ground. After his brain cooled down, he took his slippers and crawled toward the door. When he was halfway there, he looked back and saw that my Asahi had already tidied up. Her legs were clamped on the quilt, and she had fallen asleep. "Damn it! Why did I do this kind of thing in the middle of the night?" Toru Watanabe complained in his heart, and continued to crawl forward. He used his hands and feet to move forward like a soldier in a trench. Seeing that victory was in sight, the person on the outermost tatami suddenly rubbed his eyes and sat up. Toru Watanabe's heart suddenly stopped. He immediately lay on the ground and didn't dare to move. The slippers in his hand were also placed 2 centimeters away from his nose. Because of this movement, Toru Watanabe didn't dare to look up. He could only look at his slippers. That person covered the person next to him with the quilt. He didn't lie down. Instead, he planned to get up and cover my Asahi with the quilt. "It's over." Toru Watanabe's position was between that person and my Asahi. "Now that things have come to this, I have to make the first move." Toru Watanabe rolled and pressed the girl who was halfway up on the tatami. While her butt and legs were locking her movements, his right hand covered her mouth and his left hand covered the girl's quilt on both of them. The girl's eyes widened in fear. "Don't shout, Sensei. What are you doing? Why are you here?" Toru Watanabe used the smallest voice to express the biggest surprise in his heart. When Aona Koizumi heard the voice, the fear in her eyes gradually turned into doubt and anger. Although the situation was still terrible, it was already fortunate that the other party was Aona Koizumi. Toru Watanabe heaved a sigh of relief and released his hands and legs. Watanabe, why are you here? Are you really having an affair with Rin Kiyono? Rin Kiyono? What's with the feelings? Is she sleeping in this room too? Can you guys follow the rules and not sleep anywhere? Wait, sensei. Toru Watanabe sat on Aona Koizumi under the quilt. Actually, Rin Kiyono and I are secretly dating behind Mickey's back. Please help me keep it a secret. This is a once-in-a-lifetime request. Good friends are used to take the blame. Aona Koizumi widened her eyes. Kiyono, she really seduced you with her legs? Ah yes, that's right. Chapter 108. The Kanagawa High School's English teacher. Aona Koizumi's blanket moved slightly and Toru Watanabe poked his head out. He remained motionless and listened attentively. The other three girls were breathing evenly. It seemed that no one had been woken up by his movements. Toru Watanabe's eyes were already used to the darkness. He scanned the other two blankets and easily found Rin Kiyono's bed. She leaned to the right, and a few strands of hair ran to her nose and mouth. She was so beautiful that even the moonlight outside the window seemed to be shining on her. Between the gaps of her black hair, he could faintly see her closed eyes. Toru Watanabe retracted his blanket and looked down at Aona Koizumi. The shock on her face had not completely disappeared. In order not to wake the others, Toru Watanabe bent down and whispered in her ear. Teacher, please. If Mickey finds out, I'll be dead. Aona Koizumi came back to her senses and was about to speak when she suddenly felt the weight on her body and the moisture by her ear. Get off. She reprimanded in a low voice with a red face. Sorry. Toru Watanabe rolled off Aona Koizumi's body. The quilt flipped over, revealing a large area. Koizumi Aonai subconsciously pulled it back and covered the two of them again. Watanabe, tell me the truth. Okay. Aona Koizumi turned her face and just as she opened her mouth, she saw Toru Watanabe's head resting on her pillow. Because the blanket was very small, his handsome face was only 5 centimeters away from her. She couldn't control her blush and her heartbeat. The air in the blanket suddenly became stuffy and hot, and she wanted to poke her head out to get some fresh air. Toru Watanabe vaguely noticed Aona Koizumi's strange behavior and thought that she was angry. He grabbed Aona Koizumi's hand. Teacher, you can scold me however you want. Please keep this a secret for me. I beg you. She felt the heat on her face and her hand was completely wrapped. Do boys have such big hands? He's only 15 years old. Aona Koizumi's legs couldn't help but move uneasily. She touched Toru Watanabe's leg. She immediately moved back as if she had been electrocuted. She blushed and only spoke after a long time. Watanabe, let go of teacher first. Watanabe. Aona Koizumi's voice was hoarse and her voice was a little breathless. Toru Watanabe realized that something was wrong. Although he had no experience, he had seen Miki Kujio and Mayasami's passionate look. Coupled with his learning ability that was far beyond ordinary people, he immediately guessed Koizumi Aonai's general state. Toru Watanabe didn't let go. Instead, he took it a step further. He let go of Aona Koizumi's hands and hugged her body like a spoiled child, burying his face in her collarbone. If teacher doesn't promise me, I won't let go. Do, Watanabe. Be good. Promise me. Toru Watanabe didn't care if his tone sounded disgusting or not. It wasn't like he had never pretended to be a child when he was young. In terms of acting skills, no one was better than him. Sometimes he forgot his actual age, but he didn't mind at all. Aona Koizumi wanted to push away Toru Watanabe, who was like a child in her arms, but she didn't have the strength. She was also worried that she would wake the others. Let go first, she said softly. No. Toru Watanabe clamped her waist with his legs, like a koala hugging a tree. Teacher, I only have one request. Please, okay? Aona Koizumi put her hand on Toru Watanabe's shoulder, so that their bodies wouldn't get too close. But even so, they couldn't avoid some contact. The peak of the mountain was flattened. She pushed him away weakly. She really had no choice. Watanabe let go of teacher first. Let's talk outside, okay? Toru Watanabe would be stupid to believe her. Aona Koizumi taught him from time to time that he had to be loyal. He couldn't rely on his good looks to hook up with girls. He buried his face in her arms and pretended to be angry. He deliberately raised his voice and said in a muffled voice, "If teacher doesn't agree, I won't leave tonight." "She'll lower your voice." Toru Watanabe's hot breath passed through Aona Koizumi's short-sleeved pajamas and hit her body. Aona Koizumi's body trembled and finally surrendered. She said in a muffled voice, "Okay, teacher promises you." "Really? Really? You're not lying to me?" Toru Watanabe raised his face from her arms and looked at her. "I'm not lying to you." Aona Koizumi raised her head with all her might to avoid looking at him face to face. "I believe that teacher will never lie to her students." After a moral blackmail, Toru Watanabe let go of his arms and legs. He stuck his head out and after confirming that the other three's breathing was normal, he quietly left the bed, took his slippers and climbed out of the door. Aona Koizumi also stuck her head out. Her face was red as she breathed heavily. Her chest rose and fell, and she felt as if there was a wet patch there. When the cold air lowered her body temperature and cleared her mind, she carefully got up and walked out of the door. As soon as she stood up, she saw Toru Watanabe holding his slippers and crawling on the ground. She felt that the scene was very funny and her anger subsided a little. She touched her collar and confirmed that it wasn't really wet before slowly walking out. When they came out of the room, the two tacitly walked towards the flat ground in front of the school. When they passed by the vending machine surrounded by moths, Toru Watanabe bought himself a bottle of cola to replenish his sugar, and a bottle of purified water for Aona Koizumi. The moon always seemed bigger when seen from flat ground, and Toru Watanabe could clearly see the ground 5 meters away. The two sat down on a wooden bench. The cola was cold and the aluminum can was quickly covered with water droplets. Toru Watanabe pulled the tab and took a big gulp. Aona Koizumi watched him drink, and also took small sips of water. "Watanabe." She stopped drinking first. "Yes." Toru Watanabe responded like a student who was called to the office because he made a mistake. "When you weren't dating Kujo-san, the teacher told you many times to be loyal. Why did you still do this?" Aona Koizumi got angrier as she spoke. "Because I couldn't control myself." Toru Watanabe looked at the cola in his hand. "Couldn't control." Aona Koizumi's tone suddenly slowed down and she helplessly sighed. "Kiyono-san is very beautiful. If you take the initiative to approach her, boys will have a hard time controlling themselves." "Right." Toru Watanabe instantly became self-righteous. "Right. Right your head." Aona Koizumi put the cold bottle on Toru Watanabe's neck. "It's so cold." Toru Watanabe couldn't help but shrink his neck back. Aona Koizumi took back the bottle and asked, "Kujo-san can't compare to Kiyono-san?" "This is not a question of whether or not she can't compare." "Then what is the question?" It's. Toru Watanabe touched the water stain on his neck. "What is it?" "Teacher, you're an adult. You should know that boys are creatures of desire, right?" Aona Koizumi blushed. "Who knows that?" Toru Watanabe looked over. "Teacher, have you never had a boyfriend?" "No." "Are you kidding me? Teacher, you're so beautiful. How can you not have one?" "I'm talking about you." "Sorry." Toru Watanabe put away his surprised expression and lowered his head, thinking about how to find an excuse for his behavior. After a moment of silence, he said, "Teacher, you should often see gossip about political figures or celebrities, right? For example, the weekly One-chun that made 2 prime ministers step down." "What are you trying to say?" "Teacher, I'm really sorry to disappoint you. I'm not a gentleman." Aona Koizumi rubbed the uneven teeth of the bottle cap with her fingertips. "When did you and Kiyono-san start?" "After the final exams, school was still in session. One day, after the music club's practice, I met her at the convenience store and went to her apartment." "Went to her apartment?" Aona Koizumi looked at Toru Watanabe. "What did you do?" I didn't do anything that time. Really? I just took a look. Aona Koizumi was silent. She didn't ask what Toru Watanabe looked at. After a while she asked again. And then? The second time was on the day of the summer break, July 21st. Aona Koizumi resisted the urge to interrupt him. She wasn't asking how many times they did it. Toru Watanabe continued to talk nonsense. That day was also at night. She used her legs to seduce me. I couldn't hold back, so I made a move on her. Toru Watanabe couldn't tell what Aona Koizumi was thinking. He said, "Teacher, you promised me that you wouldn't tell Kujo about this. You can't go back on your word." "Don't worry, I won't say anything," Aona Koizumi replied with a headache. "What should we do next? Have you always been too timing?" "Of course not," Toru Watanabe answered immediately. "Then what do you plan to do?" "I need some time. I want to figure out who I like." "And then you've been dating both of them all this time?" Toru Watanabe was silent. Aona Koizumi took his silence as a tacit agreement. She looked at the bright moon above her head. In the end, her heart softened and she sighed helplessly. "Since it has already happened, I hope you can deal with it properly. Don't do this kind of thing again in the future. Okay. Watanabe, you're very outstanding and handsome. Now and in the future, most girls will have a good impression of you. A few will even take the initiative to approach you. It's not illegal to date many girls, but I still hope you can be a loyal person. Thank you for your guidance, teacher. I understand." Aona Koizumi looked at Toru Watanabe, who had his head lowered, and felt even more sorry. At least when you have a girlfriend, don't flirt with other girls." "Okay, teacher, don't worry. Other than them, I won't date other girls." Toru Watanabe looked up and promised firmly. When Aona Koizumi heard his words, she couldn't help but put the bottom of the bottle against his forehead and pushed him back angrily. Toru Watanabe covered his forehead and smiled mischievously. "Don't do things like running to the girls' dormitory in the middle of the night in the future," Aona Koizumi warned. "Don't worry. Absolutely not. Fortunately, it's me this time. Suda-san may also be charmed by you, but if my Asahi finds out, let's see what you'll do. She won't care about your appearance." "Well, that makes sense." Aona Koizumi suddenly lowered her voice and asked hesitantly, "What did you do with Kiyono just now?" "I had time to do anything." "Really? Teacher, you also saw it." "Kiyono no Ling." Toru Watanabe let his tongue get used to this name. "Isn't she asleep?" Aona Koizumi recalled the scene in the bed just now and couldn't help but hit Toru Watanabe's head with the bottle. "Teacher. It's okay, I'll go back first. You should rest early." "Okay." After watching Aona Koizumi disappear in the corridor, Tetsumasa Watanabe wanted to drink the cola in one breath, but his body subconsciously bent down. With a paw sound, he killed a mosquito on his leg. The mosquito's body in his palm was surrounded by blood. It seemed that the mosquito had been sucking for a long time when he wasn't paying attention. Unfortunately, it was all in vain. The next morning, Aona Koizumi was the first to wake up, and was ready to carefully observe the expressions of the 3 female students in the dormitory. My Asahi was the first to wake up and stretched comfortably. "Tomorrow, good morning." "Good morning, teacher." "Did you sleep well last night?" Aona Koizumi stared at my Asahi's face. Her eyes were as clear as ever. "Yeah." After a few seconds, my Asahi added, "Very comfortable." "That's good." Aona Koizumi breathed a sigh of relief. "We're going back today. Remember to pack your things and don't leave anything behind." "Okay." The second to wake up was another third-year student, Sudarika. She was no different from yesterday morning. She took a hairdryer, splints, toiletries, and hummed the melody of Prosperous Four Seasons as she went to the bathroom to take a shower. It seemed that she didn't wake up last night. Aona Koizumi was completely relieved. In addition to worrying that Toru Watanabe's matter would be discovered, she was also afraid that someone would see him coming out of her bed. Rin Kiyono was not used to an unfamiliar environment. For the past 2 days, she had been sleeping very late, and was the last person to wake up in the dormitory. Now it seemed that it was very likely that it was just an excuse. Perhaps she had been forcing herself not to sleep and waiting for Toru Watanabe to come. Aona Koizumi specially went to wash up and have breakfast with her. Rin Kiyono didn't seem to be surprised that Toru Watanabe didn't show up last night. She didn't seem to be the least bit abnormal. Children nowadays are really scary. Aona Koizumi couldn't help but think. Kiyono. In the end, she couldn't help but speak up. What's the matter, Koizumi-sensei? Rin Kiyono noticed that Aona Koizumi had been looking at her from the beginning. Koizumi Aonai hesitated. She changed the question. What you wrote on the enrollment and employment guidance questionnaire, is it all true? Yes. Rin Kiyono nodded. Sensei, I know that you have a preference for Watanabe, but he is indeed a pervert who likes legs. Did he do anything to you that went too far? Rin Kiyono was silent for a moment, then said, I'm also part of the reason. It's not all his fault. What did he do? Rin Kiyono lifted her long hair and turned her gradually reddening face to the side. No need to answer, I already know everything. Aona Koizumi sighed in her heart. Kiyono. Sensei, I'm going to the concert hall. Before I go back, I still have one last practice. Aona Koizumi called out to her. Kiyono, although Watanabe is a pervert, he doesn't treat everyone like that. You must be special to him. Sensei, what are you talking about? I'm at most friends with that guy who is full of lies and talks nonsense all day long. Rin Kiyono's face was completely red. Is that really all? Aona Koizumi looked at her small red ears in her black hair. Of course. And that night during the holidays, something happened that made me very unhappy. I still haven't forgiven him. That night during the holidays. Aona Koizumi couldn't help but look at Rin Kiyono's legs. They were indeed beautiful to the point that other girls couldn't help but be envious. I'll go first, Sensei. Please enjoy your meal. Okay, go ahead. After Aona Koizumi finished her breakfast and went to the concert hall, she just happened to see Rin Kiyono throwing a tantrum at Toru Watanabe. Watanabe, are you watching the conductor? Do you think you can do whatever you want just because you're good at bragging? Look at me. Watanabe, I'm distracted, let's do it again. Watanabe, your voice is very rich and beautiful, but can't you be a little louder? Did you not eat breakfast? Or did you not sleep last night? Who did you use your phone to press 555? Who did you fight with? Is this what it means to be unsatisfied? Aona Koizumi couldn't help but think of her good friends Miyazaki Miyuki and Aoko, who often muttered a phrase in private. Chapter 109. On the afternoon of the third day of training, the ensemble ended. Training ends here. After today, you can all go home. Yes. Rin Kiyono looked around and fixed her eyes on Toru Watanabe, whose eyelids kept falling. Tomorrow we'll continue with the high-intensity training, so it's best if you stay at home and rest. There are only 5 days left until the Tokyo University tournament. Don't fall asleep during training. Yes. Watanabe-san? There's a reason why I kept dozing off today. Toru Watanabe lifted his foot. Yesterday a mosquito kept buzzing, so before he could finish, Rin Kiyono looked away. Dismissed. Oh. Toru Watanabe forgot that this woman could see through his lies. NPCs have more powerful skills than players. I must be mistaken. Toru Watanabe complained in his mind. He pulled himself together and began to pack up the music stand and chairs. After moving the instruments and packing their luggage, the music department took the school bus back to Shinjuku, ending the 3 days and 2 nights of training. Toru Watanabe, who went to bed late and woke up early every day, was fine even if he insisted on exercising. However, after going to the girls' dormitory and crawling on the ground for a while, he felt exhausted when he got home. Toru Watanabe took off his shoes, walked into the hallway, turned on the air conditioner, and sat down on the ground. He let out a satisfied groan. The 2 goldfish that he fished up during the summer festival were already dead, their bloated bellies facing up. Toru Watanabe stared at them for a while, then slowly took out his phone and took a picture. He sent it to Miki Kujo. Passed away. Got it. 5 days passed quickly, and soon it was the afternoon of the day before the Tokyo University tournament. In order to prepare for tomorrow's tournament, the training ended in the afternoon. Toru Watanabe returned to his rented apartment and received a package from his hometown. It was a duck. The ducks were raised by his father in the rice paddies. Originally, he wanted to wait for him to come back and kill them to eat. However, because of the matter with the trumpet club, he stayed in Tokyo for the entire summer vacation. The ducks that eat weeds and pests have all been killed. That means it's almost time to harvest the rice. Toru Watanabe muttered to himself as he stared at the tied-up ducks. In the blink of an eye, he had a headache. Killing a duck from scratch was a very tedious task. He had to bleed it, pluck its feathers, and so on. However, it was unrealistic to raise ducks or sell them. After thinking for a while, Toru Watanabe took out his phone. "What's the matter?" Miki Kujo's voice sounded. "My hometown sent me a duck. Do you want to come over for dinner tonight?" With a guest, the host had the motivation to work in the kitchen. Duck. Miki Kujo was stunned for a moment. Why would you send something like that? Where is it not? Ricefield duck is a rare sight for the average Tokyo citizen, right? Are you coming or not? Do you want me to go to your place so badly? Miki Kujo's tone was contemptuous and flirtatious. Hey, don't think about it that way. I don't want to deal with the duck at all. I'll only have the motivation to cook if you come over for dinner. Is that so? Of course. If there's no guest, who would bother to kill a duck? I definitely don't have the dirty thought of, if my girlfriend agrees to come over for dinner, then I can do that kind of thing. Miki Kujo's laughter on the other side of the phone showed that she didn't believe Toru Watanabe's words at all. What a headache. If it was Rin Kiyono, she would definitely know that Toru Watanabe was a hospitable host who didn't have dirty thoughts. Okay, 8 o'clock, I'll come over. Wash it clean. Wash it clean? Miki, I'm not a scumbag whose brain is filled with lust. I'm talking about the duck. Oh. The phone call ended with Miki Kujo's laughter. She seemed to be in a good mood. Could it be that she recently closed a few more deals and made a few $100 million USD? Toru Watanabe thought about the Eagle agent who gave him a Lamborghini when they first met. It was hard to imagine the life of a rich person. Since Miki Kujo agreed to come over for dinner, Toru Watanabe didn't want to slack off. He boiled water and prepared to kill the duck. He didn't know how to cook, so he prepared to cook the duck soup in hot pot. He asked his mom for the steps to cook the soup. He put the duck in the pot and went out to buy other ingredients. It was the afternoon of August 24th, and it was very hot outside. The asphalt road and the roofs of the residential area shone under the sun. The few pedestrians on the road tried their best to stay in the shade. Toru Watanabe finally walked into the mall. He let out a long sigh. His body was already sticky with sweat. He stood at the air conditioner for a while and walked around the vegetable section of the mall. There was a plate of high-quality Wagyu beef, shiitake mushrooms, green onions, chrysanthemum flower, baby cabbage, enoki mushrooms, chrysanthemum flower. There were many kinds of dishes, but the quantity was small. Toru Watanabe remembered that Miki Kujo liked to eat salmon, so he took the most expensive plate of salmon. Finally, he took a bottle of orange juice, paid the bill, and went back to his rented apartment. In this kind of weather, he really didn't want to cook, let alone kill the duck. He took a shower and changed his clothes. He didn't know the time, so he started to wash the rice, cook the rice, and prepare the dishes. After dark, before Miki Kujo came, he went to the store to buy a camping stove. He placed the gas stove on the round low table, and placed the duck soup pot that he had been cooking for the entire afternoon on top of it. The round table was filled with other dishes. He raised his phone, took a picture, and sent it to his mom and Miki Kujo. Toru Watanabe turned on the TV, drank orange juice, and watched a NHK documentary about the bad weather in the northernmost part of Hokkaido. While waiting for Miki Kujo, the pot made gurgling sounds, and the smell of the pot filled the entire rental apartment. Miki Kujo knocked on the door at 8 o'clock sharp. "You're finally here. I'm starving." Toru Watanabe opened the door. Miki Kujo was wearing a simple short-sleeved shirt, and the hem was tucked into her skirt, showing off her graceful waist. She sat down at the short table and glanced at the dishes on the table. I didn't eat anything after you called me. If it's not good and you disappoint me, I'll punish you by dancing. Smell it. Toru Watanabe gestured to the hot pot. Miki Kujo sniffed with her delicate nose. It's just a sozo. Smell it carefully. Miki Kujo sniffed again. Don't you feel that the rice duck is special? It doesn't matter if it's a duck or not. It's full of my love, Toru Watanabe said. Miki Kujo glanced at Toru Watanabe and picked up the glass he had prepared for her. Pour me a drink and put some ice in it. Didn't my love get through? Miki Kujo tapped the base of the glass on the table, indicating that he should stop talking nonsense. Toru Watanabe was also hungry, so he didn't waste any more time. He poured her a drink, put in ice, and then placed the ingredients in the snow-white soup. After everything was ready, the two of them started with the dishes that were easy to cook. Toru Watanabe put a piece of duck meat in her bowl and looked at her expectantly. Try it. Miki Kujo didn't eat it immediately. She first put the duck skin in Toru Watanabe's bowl, and then took a bite of the duck meat. How is it? Toru Watanabe asked. Miki Kujo nodded indifferently. Toru Watanabe was already very satisfied with such an evaluation. He felt that working all afternoon was worth it. He threw the duck skin into his mouth. Jujo Miyoshi picked up a piece of cooked wagyu beef and nodded, feeling that it was good. She ate some vegetables and asked Toru Watanabe to give her a bowl of rice. Have you been busy recently? Toru Watanabe put a piece of tofu soaked in soup into his mouth. There are a few projects. I'm not very busy, but I don't have much time. Are you going to watch my competition tomorrow? It's boring to watch the Tokyo University competition. Let's wait until the national competition. You have a lot of confidence in me. I believe in Rin Kiyono's ability. Miki Kujo rolled her eyes at Toru Watanabe. She put the food in her mouth with her chopsticks, but she was scalded by the potato. She frowned and stuck out her little red tongue slightly. Toru Watanabe looked up and saw Miki Kujo's appearance. He couldn't help but laugh out loud. Miki Kujo's face was cold as she poured the potato into his bowl. The two of them chatted as they ate. The hot pot was bubbling, and the steam filled the air between them. After eating the hot pot, Toru Watanabe leaned against the wall, drank the remaining orange juice, and watched an unfinished documentary. Miki Kujo was full. She laid her head on his lap and closed her eyes to digest the food. A few strands of black hair fell on her face. Toru Watanabe used his index finger to gently tuck the hair behind her ear. Miki Kujo reached out her hand and gently held Toru Watanabe's hand that was brushing across her face. Her hand was very soft and thin. Toru Watanabe couldn't help but gently knead it. The hot temperature passed through her skin. Miki Kujo felt very comfortable, as if she was being massaged. She quietly closed her eyes and looked even more languid. The air conditioner was blowing cold air. There were leftovers on the table, and there were occasional dog barks outside the room. On the day of the Tokyo University competition, Toru Watanabe came to the music room early as usual. In the past, the only person who came earlier than him was Mayasahi. Today there were 3 more people, and everyone was practicing seriously. When Seigo Rin arrived, the piano department practiced the song from beginning to end a few more times. Before they started to move the instruments, Rin Kiyono said, "Do you still remember our goal? The national competition gold medal. That's right, so don't be nervous about the Tokyo University competition. Wait until the national competition to be nervous." The music department laughed, and the hands that were holding the instruments quietly relaxed. When the laughter stopped, Rin Kiyono said again, "If you are really nervous, you can look at the music score in your hands." Everyone's music score was tattered and full of notes. "Okay, let's go." Yes. The Tokyo University competition was held in an international conference hall in Bunkyo, Tokyo. The Shinjuku district where Kamigawa was located and the Bunkyo district where the competition was held were close to each other. This was also the reason why they had enough time to practice in the morning. "Hey, if we make it to the national competition, do you think we'll have to go to Nagoya a day earlier?" a boy asked on the bus. "Maybe," a girl answered. "I really want to go to Tensho Tower." If I want to go to Nagoya University, my goal is to go to the Faculty of Law. Tamamo, where do you want to go? A boy asked. Yoshimi Tamamo was much calmer than last time. Perhaps it was because she had taken the most notes on the music score. She looked up and thought carefully. She was very attractive to the boys. I want to go to Yamasaki River to see the cherry blossoms. I heard that there are hundreds of cherry blossoms on the 1-kilometer walkway there. Are you an idiot? Toru Watanabe couldn't help but say. The national competition is in November. Where are the cherry blossoms for you to see? Do you think you're Haruhi Suzumiya? Who's Haruhi Suzumiya? Is he prettier than me? Was that the point of focus? What an idiot. After getting off the bus, they were greeted by the fierce sunlight and heat waves. Everyone in their long-sleeved uniforms was already sweating before they even entered the venue. There was already a sea of people in the venue. Students in all kinds of uniforms were running around. Yoshimi Tamamo and the others stayed in a corner. Every time they saw a team from a strong school, their nervousness would increase. In their eyes, even the words and actions of the strong school seemed to be different from the rest. The neat uniforms exuded an intimidating aura. There were even radio interviews. What do we do? My hands are shaking. I can't even remember the melody. It's over, it's over. What was the first note? Don't talk about it. I've almost forgotten it too because of you. Just as they were walking around restlessly, there was a sudden commotion at the entrance of the venue. There were even the suppressed screams of young girls. The people in the music department looked over and saw the boys of the Kamikawa High School band walking in with a bottle of soda in each hand. They were sweating profusely. Toru Watanabe pulled at the collar of his suit as if he couldn't stand the heat. His sleeves were rolled up because he was carrying instruments, and his well-proportioned and strong arms were exposed. That guy is so handsome. Could he be an artist? No way. Look at him wearing a school uniform. Which school's uniform is that? I'm so jealous. I think it's Kamigawa. Hey, isn't that a private high school famous for its promotion? I've never seen them in competitions before. The girls in the music department were proud of Toru Watanabe for the first time in their history. Only Yoshimi Tamamo clicked her tongue. The screams were not over. When Rin Kiyono, who had gone to change her clothes, walked in, the venue became noisy again. That girl is so handsome. Look at her clothes. Is she a consultant? You must be kidding. She's too young. I think she's from Kamigawa too. Ah, such a handsome classmate and a consultant. Why aren't they in our school? One would be good too. The students from the music department from all over Kanto were talking about it without any scruples. Not only that, the TV stations wanted to smell the blood and immediately surrounded them. When Toru Watanabe walked to Rin Kiyono's side and was about to tease her, the two of them were surrounded by reporters. Hello, may I ask which school you are from? Toru Watanabe looked at Rin Kiyono. She crossed her arms and didn't intend to speak. Kanagawa High School. Toru Watanabe had to take the initiative to speak. The cameras immediately aimed at him. Classmate, may I ask what your name is? What instrument are you in charge of? My name is Toru Watanabe. I'm in charge of the oboe. May I ask what your goal is? To become the Prime Minister of Japan and lead Japan to become an independent country. Toru Watanabe said with confidence. Not to mention Rin Kiyono, who could see through lies. The people who could hear his voice didn't believe him. Classmate, I'm asking about your goal in this competition. The reporter reminded him. Another reporter continued to ask. Watanabe classmate, may I ask how you're going to become the Prime Minister? What are you going to do? Toru Watanabe ignored the serious reporter and said to the reporter who looked promising. I'm going to participate in various competitions in high school to increase my popularity. This orchestra competition is one of them. I'm still practicing baseball to enter Koshien next year. Of course, that's not enough. Toru Watanabe continued. My grades are third in the school. If nothing unexpected happens, I'll get a recommendation to Tokyo University. For real? Of course. Toru Watanabe had the style of a politician. Although I can't disclose the details, My girlfriend is powerful and influential. Even my classmates, the one next to me, is also famous. Shut up. Rin Kiyono rubbed her eyebrows. Yes. The future Prime Minister Toru Watanabe chose to temporarily surrender. Chapter 110. Sorry, we still have some work to do. After saying that to the reporters, Rin Kiyono gave Toru Watanabe a look that said, "Follow me." Then she walked toward the group of students. Watanabe-san. Toru Watanabe had only taken 2 steps when a reporter suddenly called out to him. I was just joking. Please don't take it seriously. He turned around and explained, actually my goal is to become an idol like Takuya Kimura, or like the writer Watanabe Junichi, who writes about both sexes. Toru Watanabe. Rin Kiyono called him by his full name. Toru Watanabe could only give the reporter an apologetic look and quickly walked over. The reporter was speechless. He only wanted to ask about Kanagawa High School's goal for this competition. Do you like to talk nonsense that much? Rin Kiyono said in annoyance. What's wrong with that? I'm just trying to liven up the atmosphere. You see, everyone is very nervous. You can only perform to your best if you relax a little. Rin Kiyono glanced at him. You're trying to liven up the atmosphere of the reporters and the other schools? It's over. We've helped the enemy. But forget it. We can only perform to our best when we're more nervous. Now that I think about it, we've already won. Rin Kiyono sighed with a headache. She had nothing to say to him. The two of them walked to the front of the group. She looked at everyone who was so nervous that their faces were ashen. Don't worry about those strong schools. Everyone stay calm. We just have to do our best to perform our own music. We'll leave the results to the judges. Yes, of course, simple words couldn't ease the heavy atmosphere. Tetsumasa Watanabe was about to open his mouth and make a few jokes when he heard someone call his name. Watanabe. The voice sounded familiar. It didn't seem to be a reporter. Toru Watanabe looked in the direction of the voice and smiled. Look, isn't that Lady Ling? The girl who ran over was Ayako Homa, Toru Watanabe's classmate from high school in Fujisawa, Kanagawa Prefecture. Her short bob hair set off her small round face very cute, and her appearance looked very much like the short-haired female lead in The Bottom Spice. Ayako Homa, who was holding the piccolo, pounded his chest with all her might. Why are you here? She asked with a smile. I'm participating in the competition. What else can I do? You. Ayako Homa had a look of doubt on her face. With your ability to play the flute and wake up the entire village, how can you participate in the competition? You rascal, you're really lacking in manners. How can it be as exaggerated as the entire village? Hanma Ayako raised her head with an expression that said, I'm just like this. What can you do about it? Aha. Toru Watanabe looked at Rin Kiyono, who cleared her throat, and introduced her to the two of them. This is my senior from the same village, Ayako Homa. This is my high school friend Rin Kiyono. Hello. Ayako Homa smiled and greeted her. Hanma-senpai, hello. Don't use honorifics. Just call me Ling like Watanabe. After that, Ayako Homa looked at Toru Watanabe. This is your girlfriend? That's right, she's my girl. Oh. Rin Kiyono retracted her cold gaze and said to Ayako Homa, No, we're just friends. I wanted to say female friend. Toru Watanabe spoke his grievances. Rin Kiyono glanced at him emotionlessly. Then please speak more concisely. Also, when others say girlfriend, please don't give a definite answer. To liven up the atmosphere, I've already applied to you, right? No. Huh. Toru Watanabe tried to recall, but he really didn't. I thought you could read my eyes and understand my application without speaking. The only ones who understand you are the female apes who haven't developed their brains. Ayako Homa looked at Rin Kiyono in confusion. It was the first time she saw such a fierce girl. Tokyo was indeed worthy of its name. There were all kinds of people. Toru Watanabe noticed her expression. Although Rin Kiyono didn't care about other people's opinions, he still took the initiative to explain. Kiyono likes to be sarcastic, don't take it to heart. No, I only like to be like this to Watanabe classmate. Rin Kiyono said with a smile as she crossed her arms. Why? Because you're special. Toru Watanabe suddenly became happy. Rin Kiyono never lied, which meant that he was indeed a special existence. What's special? He asked expectantly. She doesn't like me. Expecting Rin Kiyono to praise him, it was better to keep it in his dreams. But if he had to face her during the day and dream of her at night, wouldn't it be too sad? Haha. Ayako Homa patted Toru Watanabe's shoulder and laughed. I understand. It's just that you're asking for a scolding. Don't laugh so hard. You won't be able to use your strength in the competition later. Toru Watanabe viciously cursed. Ah. I almost fell for your trick. So disgusting. Ayako Homa immediately stopped laughing and said with a straight face. It's evil, right? Disgusting. No matter how I think about it, it's evil. Evil heart. Ayako Homa tilted her head and used the cute tone of an idol scolding an otaku to repeat. Yes, I understand, you just want to scold me. Ayako Homa once again raised her head and revealed a proud smile. At this time, someone called her from afar, so she turned around and responded. I'll be leaving first. Oh right. What's your school number? I'll go listen to your performance after the competition. Number 22. The second to last, I'll remember it. Let's do our best together. If you dare to embarrass the village, I'll go back and tell on you. Ayako Homa finished speaking, waved her hand, and ran towards a group of people wearing brown uniforms. You guys seem to have a good relationship. Rin Kiyono looked at Ayako Homa, who was talking and laughing in the crowd. Jealous? No. My mom once told me, if a girl doesn't have it, then she does. Rin Kiyono put down her arm and turned to the people in the music department. Everyone pack up. We're going to the rehearsal room. Yes. Wait, I was just joking. Don't tell me you haven't watched Kamen Knight Armor Combat. No. It's over, we can't be friends anymore. Is that so? Of course not. Generally, I won't be friends with people who don't like to play cards, but you're beautiful and honest, so I can turn a blind eye. Isn't it because my legs are beautiful? Toru Watanabe glanced around and whispered. There are so many people here, don't say such things. So you really are friends with me because my legs are beautiful? I'm so disappointed. I said I'm just studying legs. Studying doesn't equal to liking, understand? Then tell me, do you like legs or not? I think the competition is more important now, what do you think? Toru Watanabe said worriedly. Rin Kiyono sneered. In the rehearsal room, everyone tuned more carefully than usual, and began the final practice. It was still the beginning of the training. In the past, they thought it was boring and repetitive, but now they couldn't wait to keep practicing, just like Yoshimi Tamamo, who walked into the exam room with a vocabulary book in her hand. Practice time was over, and there was only time left for the competition. In the rehearsal room, the sound of nervous heartbeats could be heard clearly. Rin Kiyono said to Misaki Komatsu, Director Komatsu, why don't you say a few words to everyone? Me? Misaki Komatsu pointed at herself. Ever since Rin Kiyono became a consultant, her role as the director was only to supervise the training. She didn't even have the right to manage the expenses of the music department. However, she didn't care who had the right to speak. As long as the music department was going to be good, she was fine with anything. Yeah. Rin Kiyono nodded. Although I believe that everyone is strong enough to enter the national competition, there are always accidents. This might really be the last competition. As the director, and also a third-year student who is about to retire, it's better for you to wrap things up. If it's possible, I'd like to wrap things up before the national competition. Misaki Komatsu joked, making everyone laugh. Misaki Komatsu took a deep breath. Everyone, until the middle of June. For us, even winning the gold medal in the national competition is hard to believe. Winning the Tokyo University competition is an unattainable dream. She faced everyone. Our Kamigawa High School is famous for its enrollment rate. In the future, all of us will go to first-class universities. For us, the national competition is our goal, and we're working hard for it. I don't know what everyone is thinking, But I don't want to lose to those schools that don't have a higher deviation rate than us. Misaki Komatsu's eyes shone with a stubborn light. This was the stubbornness of a top student. It's fine if you don't work hard. But since you're serious, we can't lose to anyone. Yoshimi Tamamo said. Yes. That's right. Kamigawa High School is number 1. Kamigawa. Do your best. Do your best. The cheers of the Kamikawa Yukibu Club members echoed in the rehearsal room. What kind of person you think you are is very important. If the top student in the grade got 10th place, they would be in pain and self-blame. If the second last student got last place, they would even be proud of themselves and brag about it. Toru Watanabe insisted that he must be an amazing person in the future. The third place in the grade was a hurdle that he had to overcome. The first place in the national competition was where he should be. Whether it was sports or other things, it didn't matter if he didn't work hard. As long as he wanted to, he had to be more outstanding than anyone else. This was what he wanted from himself. Toru Watanabe looked at the black oboe in his hands. His heart was beating rapidly, and he was excited. Originally, the national competition was dispensable to him. But now he was determined to win the gold medal. Otherwise, how could he be worthy of the adjective amazing? A female staff member pushed open the door and came in. Students of Kanagawa High School, it's your turn. Do your best, whispered Keiru Hayami, who was sitting next to Toru Watanabe and holding bassoon. I can't wait, Toru Watanabe replied with a smile. Keiru Hayami was stunned for a moment, then nodded gently. I'm looking forward to Koen Watanabe's solo. Apart from them, the others also cheered each other on, regardless of their relationship. Kanagawa High School students took their music stands and walked to the stage together. Next, number 22, the representative of Kyoto East, Kamikawa High School Band, will perform for everyone. The designated song is March for Endless Dreams, and the free song is Four Seasons of Prosperity, composed by Akichi Kawa. Conductor, Rin Kiyono. After the announcement, Toru Watanabe was already sitting in his seat. He opened the music score and placed his fingers on the oboe keys. He looked at Rin Kiyono, who was standing in front of him. The lights suddenly dimmed and the stage became brighter, as if a large spotlight had been turned on. The sound of people swallowing their saliva could be heard from all directions. A tense atmosphere enveloped everyone. The expressionless Ching Yi-rin looked at everyone's faces one by one, and his gaze finally stopped on Toru Watanabe. Are you nervous? Didn't I tell you? You can only perform better if you're nervous. Well, I'm looking forward to your performance. I promise you'll be satisfied. Rin Kiyono looked away and raised his arm. Everyone immediately picked up their instruments. The tip of the conductor's baton sank slightly. Everyone's gasps were heard through the horns, creating a huge resonance. As the conductor's baton swung down, the main melody of March for Endless Dreams sounded. The tension disappeared without a trace. The bass horn and bass cello produced a bass sound that even caused the ground to tremble. The brass band moved forward bravely. The woodwind band was delicate and melodious. In the competition between the two, the flute and the clarinet moved freely between them. Then, the soft and beautiful secondary melody of the bass horn smoothly blended into the music. The performance was full of enthusiasm and rushed to the finish line in one breath. The speed became faster and faster, more and more intense. Slowly, everything returned to silence. But the moment Rin Kiyono's conductor's baton stopped, the performance reached the climax. The oboe took over the baton. Rin Kiyono looked at Toru Watanabe again. Toru Watanabe held the reed he made himself in his mouth. His slender fingers gently slid on the keys. The sweet and melancholy, gripping tone resounded throughout the concert hall. At that moment, everyone in the hall was still. Their brains were violently shocked. In the concert hall, which was dyed golden by the lights, there was only silence. Toru Watanabe and his oboe had woven together the notes with a trace of sadness. It was as if a huge colorful bubble had enveloped the stage. One of the judges on the judging panel couldn't help but bend forward, but he didn't notice it at all. Everyone in the Kamikawa High School Band was proud. Compared to last time, it was even more beautiful. The tone of the oboe, This was the strength of our Kanagawa High School's solo performance. When Sano Rin turned around and bowed to the audience with sweat all over his forehead, the audience who had been silent for a long time suddenly woke up and let out a thunderous applause. Everyone in the performance department had a look of joy and confusion on their faces. They hadn't recovered from the previous state. Off the stage, Rin Kiyono said to everyone, "Before the results are announced, you are free to move around. But when the results are announced, everyone must gather in the concert hall." Yes. Toru Watanabe hadn't seen Ayako Homa yet. He wanted to see Osamu Kanai and Keisuke Saito, who had arrived later. The two of them came face to face with excitement. "You're really good, Watanabe. You played very well. If you can't get the gold medal with this level of skill, then there must be something going on." "Of course," Toru Watanabe said with a smile. "Guijing was also brought into Koshien. I can't not even enter the national competition, right? Hey, do you have a conscience? I haven't walked out of the failure yet." Osamu Kanai wailed. Kamigawa Baseball Club only brought back a handful of soil from the field after a trip to Koshien, the custom of the losers. "Let's go, I'll treat you to a drink." Toru Watanabe patted him on the shoulder. "That's more like it. Can you reimburse the bus fare here?" Keisuke Saito asked for more. "What does it have to do with you?" Chapter 111. Toru Watanabe and the others ran out of sight. The others also went about their own business, going to the bathroom, resting, taking photos, and buying memorabilia. Yoshimi Tamamo walked up to Rin Kiyono with the program schedule. "Kiyono-san, what are you planning to do next?" "I'm going to listen to the performance of number 23. "That's great. I was just about to go. Can we go together?" "Of course." Rin Kiyono nodded. There were many people going to watch the performance, and with the large audience, the front seats were already full. The two of them barely managed to find a seat in the back. As soon as they sat down, number 23's performance began. Next, number 23, the representative of Saitama Prefecture, and a student from the Kasuga Kaiowai High School's performance department, will perform for everyone. The designated song is the fifth song, a self-selected song. Yoshimi Tamamo whispered to Rin Kiyono, "I think this school won a national gold medal." "Yes, in 2010, but that was the only time. Our real opponent is Tokai University's affiliated high school. They've won 5 times. They're a really strong school." 5 times? Yoshimi Tamamo couldn't believe it. That's Kanto. Kansai Osaka Prefecture's Litakawa Engineering High School has won a national gold medal for 9 consecutive years. 9 years. Yoshimi Tamamo couldn't imagine what that was, but she quickly said firmly, "If Kiyono-san graduates and becomes a consultant, we can do it too." "Thank you." Rin Kiyono nodded. Although being a consultant is important, the determination of the performer to win a national gold medal is equally important. I have the ability to win a national gold medal for 9 consecutive years, but I can't guarantee that I'll be lucky enough to meet a motivated performer for 9 consecutive years. Listening to Rin Kiyono's analysis, Yoshimi Tamamo looked at the perfect side of her face. She felt that her untrimmed eyebrows were neat and beautiful. "It's starting." "Ah, yeah." Yoshimi Tamamo came back to her senses. She suddenly felt a little hot as she looked at the stage. On the stage, the sound of the brass was layered and intertwined to create a magnificent melody. The other instruments were no less inferior. The most eye-catching one was the young girl playing the clarinet. The speed at which she moved her fingers was unimaginable, accurately pressing each key. Even those who didn't know anything about music could understand how difficult it was. "She's so strong," Yoshimi Tamamo murmured. "She is very strong, but what? Is there a problem?" Compared to Watanabe, he's talking all day. He's seriously. He of those things. He's very he and of all he. Handsome he no and others. Of his he. Looking at Sano Rin's bright smile, Tomomi Tamamo felt uncomfortable. "I can do it too." She blurted out subconsciously. Rin Kiyono paused for a moment, then smiled and said, "Good luck." The 12-minute performance gradually came to an end. The conductor waved his baton vigorously, bringing the competition to a close. "How's the overall performance?" Yoshimi Tamamo asked nervously. There were many schools that could win the gold medal, but only 3 schools could enter the national competition. Kasuga Kaiowai High School, which had won the gold medal in the national competition, was an opponent that had to be paid attention to. Rin Kiyono, along with the audience, applauded lightly. That was a good performance. If they weren't behind us, they would have won the gold medal. But now we have to see how much the judges were influenced by our performance. Are we that good? Tamamo-san, our goal from the beginning has been to win the gold medal in the national competition. We need to have this kind of ability. Also, some of our classmates seem to have overperformed because they were nervous. Rin Kiyono smiled beautifully when he said the last sentence. The way the results of the Kansai competition were announced was different from the way the Kyoto competition was announced. The results would be announced in a more formal way. Not only would there be a special MC to announce the names, but each school would also send 2 representatives to the stage to officially receive the award and trophy from the judges. All the participating students, consultants, and logistics students of Group B would also be crowded in the concert hall to wait for the results. Therefore, after the competition ended, the audience would consciously leave their seats and give up their seats. As the number of audience members gradually decreased, more and more students wearing various school uniforms appeared. Everyone's face was filled with anticipation and nervousness. Rin Kiyono sent a location in the group, and the people of the Kamikawa High School band gradually gathered. The results are about to be announced. I'm so excited. My hands are shaking. You can touch them and see. Ah, your hands are so cold. I'm nervous too. Misaki Komatsu received a head count from the chairman of each vocal department and reported to Rin Kiyono. Only Watanabe-san isn't here. The boys also said that they didn't see him. Rin Kiyono sighed helplessly. Let's go look under the shade outside the venue. He's probably drinking soda with a silly look on his face and staring at the girl's legs. Forget it, I'll go. She was about to leave when Mayasahi suddenly spoke. Kiyono-san, do you have a good relationship with Watanabe? Rin Kiyono looked back at Mayasahi in surprise. This was the first time she had seen her interested in interpersonal relationships. Why do you ask? Rin Kiyono asked. You're very cold and strict to people, but you only scold Watanabe. Mayasahi stared at Rin Kiyono without blinking. Is that so? Seino Rin hadn't noticed this before. It's probably because he's always talking nonsense. Mayasahi nodded lightly. Rin Kiyono glanced at her, then turned around and walked towards the exit. After she left, Aoyachiki whispered. They definitely have something going on. Don't talk nonsense, Yoshimi Tamamo said with dissatisfaction. That's right. Watanabe has a girlfriend, and he definitely has nothing going on with Kiyono-san. Asako Hanada clenched her fists and said with certainty, but her tone sounded like she was trying to convince herself. But didn't you see them bickering before the competition started? I think so too. Hey, isn't that cheating? Watanabe Dross is capable of anything. A girl said with disdain. Then why do you always stare at him? I don't. Don't quibble, you're sitting in front of me, and I know where you're looking. Shut up. While everyone was arguing, the heavy doors of the concert hall were pushed open, and Rin Kiyono and Toru Watanabe walked in. The 2 beautiful boys walked side by side, one cold and elegant, the other handsome and confident. For some rotten girls, they probably couldn't help but imagine some dirty scenes in their minds. The 2 of them seemed to be talking, and only when they got closer did the musicians hear what they were saying. Don't forget that you're still wearing the school uniform, and you're representing Kanagawa High School. Don't do anything that will damage the school's reputation. Rin Kiyono's tone was full of warning. I already told you, those 2 guys were the ones who whistled at the girls' school next door. I was just looking. Toru Watanabe felt wronged. Lies. Yes, I whistled as well, but it was mainly to teach them how to play it better, And I definitely didn't have any intention of molesting anyone. I swear in the name of Wenjing, if I lie, I'll make it quake immediately. You pass. Rin Kiyono glared at him. Aoi Ichiki looked at everyone and whispered proudly. I told you. I feel like it's just a normal warning. Yoshimi Tamamo glanced at the two who were walking over. Alright, that's enough. Misaki Komatsu interrupted the conversation and looked at my Asahi. Tomorrow, classmate, come on stage with me. Okay. My Asahi replied emotionlessly. The two of them represented Kanagawa High School and walked up to the stage, and the representatives of the other schools also went up on stage one after another. Standing in a row with girls of the same age, my Asahi's appearance was obviously taller. Her breasts were swollen, and her legs were long and slender. She was like a crane in a flock of chickens, and attracted a lot of discussion from the audience. Toru Watanabe glanced at my Asahi under the light. No matter what, he couldn't compare the current her with the Mai who was watching 1980K movies under the covers. Although he felt helpless about being harassed, it was also something to be proud of for such a dazzling senior, to only show her other side in front of him. Looking to the left, there were shiny trophies and certificates. Just looking at these things from afar made one's heart beat faster. The MC took the list and walked slowly to the microphone. Only the sound of heartbeats could be heard in the concert hall. The folded list slowly unfolded, showing the results of the 12th to 23rd schools, and the names of the 3 schools that advanced to the national competition. Number 12, Ainamao High School, representing Chiba Prefecture, bronze medal. A group of people in black Western uniforms sighed in despair in the distance. At this time no one cared about them. Everyone was too busy looking after themselves. Toru Watanabe glanced at Rin Kiyono. She had her arms crossed, and there was no expression on her charming face. However, her eyes were fixed on the MC. Noticing his gaze, Rin Kiyono looked over. What are you looking at? She asked with her eyes. Nothing. Toru Watanabe shrugged. Rin Kiyono looked at him with his hands in his pockets and a relaxed expression. She snorted and slightly loosened her clenched fists. Number 13, Kamazawa High School, representing Kyoto East, gold medal. Excited cheers came from the front. Everyone looked at them enviously, and then continued to wait for their results. Number 14, Hanagawa Prefecture, representing Hanako Girls High School, gold medal. 2 gold medals in a row. Toru Watanabe looked into the distance. Ayako Homa was grabbing the shoulder of a girl next to her, and shaking her vigorously. Then he jumped up and down and made a victory sign to the other side. The smile on her face was like the morning glory that grew on cow dung in the village. Number 15. The MC didn't care if the audience was happy or sad. He announced the results at the same speed. One by one, it was soon number 21. Number 21, Katakura High School, representing Kyoto East, gold medal. There were already 2 gold medals in Kyoto. The next one was Kanagawa High School, the last high school in Kyoto East. Yoshimi Tamamo clutched the hem of her skirt tightly. The pleated skirt that she cared about so much was already wrinkled. Aoi Ichiki was so nervous that her chest hurt. The sound of her heart beating seemed to come from her throat. The MC still looked businesslike. He glanced at the name list, slowly raised his eyes, and announced into the microphone, Mr. Zhang, number 22, Tokyo Prefecture, representing Kanagawa High School, gold medal. The atmosphere exploded. Great! Great! Gold medal! Senpai! It's gold medal! Don't get excited. Don't get excited. Huff, huff, we still have to go to the national competition. Because of the close distance, Toru Watanabe felt that there were screams and cheers coming from all directions. He glanced at Rin Kiyono. Like him, she didn't feel much. She was still waiting for the MC to announce the winners. On the stage, Misaki Komatsu's lips curled up. Her lips were pursed into a line, because she was trying to suppress her smile. My Asahi beside her was still expressionless. Amidst the noise he could vaguely hear that on number 23, Saitama Prefecture, Haruhibu Kaioi High School won the silver medal. After all the results were announced, the venue exploded. For the schools that didn't win, they were naturally disappointed. For the schools that won the gold medal, what came next was the highlight. The atmosphere in the concert hall was even hotter. The schools that won the gold medal had a higher desire for greater glory. Next, we'll announce the schools that can participate in the national competition. The MC adjusted his reading glasses. The first school, number 13, Kyoto East Representative, Kamazawa High School. There was an ear-piercing scream. The girls from Kamazawa High School hugged each other, and the boys pushed each other aggressively. They didn't hide their joy at all. The second school, number 21, Kyoto East Representative, Katakura High School. Amidst the cheers, Toru Watanabe looked at Ayako Homa. Well, the morning glory had withered. She looked like she had stepped on cow dung in elementary school, and cried for the whole morning. What did I have for lunch that day? Curry? Toru Watanabe thought heartlessly. It's the last school. The other two schools in Tokyo both entered the national competition. What if we didn't? It's so embarrassing. I'm so nervous, so nervous. Rin Kiyono sighed and said with a smile, it's already us. Huh. Everyone looked at her in confusion. I really have to hand it to you guys, Toru Watanabe said with a look of disdain. We're the only two schools left. We made it to the national competition? Before anyone could react, the MC announced the name of the last school. Finally, the third school, which is also the last place, number 22. The representative of Tokyo, Kamigawa High School. Hooray! Kanto representative. We're the representatives of Kanto. Ah! Screams echoed throughout the concert hall. The MC seemed to be saying something, but the cheers were so loud that it was impossible to hear. Toru Watanabe looked at Rin Kiyono. Rin Kiyono smiled at him, and he smiled back. Kiyono, we made it to the national competition. Yoshimi Tamamo cheered and threw herself at Rin Kiyono. Rin Kiyono didn't know what to do and pushed her away. Tamamo, you're too close. It's too hot. Tamamo Otami hugged her without a care and kept shouting, that's great. That's great. Masaki Komatsu and Mayasahi received their trophies and certificates on stage, and the Kanagawa High School audience gave them a round of applause. Masaki Komatsu stood under the lights and wiped the tears from the corners of her eyes, trying to look serious. The dazzling Mayasahi was still expressionless. Her skin was pale and translucent, and it seemed a bit unreal. But when Toru Watanabe looked at her, their eyes met, and her face slowly bloomed with a smile and a faint blush. After the award ceremony, everyone took photos as usual, and took the bus back to school. The atmosphere was very lively, and everyone talked and laughed. The trophies and certificates were passed around, and the sound of photos never stopped. Hey! I saw someone on the forum saying that Kyoto Orange only won the silver medal in the Kansai competition this year. Kyoto Orange? Kyoto is a high school with a very strong performance department. Most people say that it's a traditional strong school. Because they often wear orange uniforms during performances, they even have the nickname Orange Devil. Orange Devil? They're that good? Then why did they only win the silver medal? Did they change their advisor? I don't know. I don't know much about Kyoto. Rin Kiyono, who was listening to their conversation, explained. Kyoto always has the strength to compete for the national gold medal in marching competitions, but in sitting competitions, they're just average. It's not surprising that they didn't enter the national competition. What, you've already started studying their opponents for the national competition? Toru Watanabe asked. Of course. Rin Kiyono suddenly frowned and looked at Toru Watanabe's teasing eyes. What's with that expression? It's pissing me off. No, it's nothing. Lies. Tell me the truth. I just thought of something funny. It's really nothing. Hey Kitayoshi, which school is that? Have you heard of it? No. I've never heard of it. Why? It's one of the Kansai representatives. I heard that they put on a miraculous performance in the competition. There's nothing to be afraid of. Toru Watanabe put down his phone and ended the conversation with Ayako Homa. I heard that their oboe solos are very good. Toru Watanabe chuckled. After meeting Aphrodite on the morning of the second day of training, he was already a master. Wow. A boy stood up with a bang. Their trumpet solos are so beautiful. Let me see. Under the girls' disgusted gazes, all the boys, including Toru Watanabe, gathered around. After the boy enlarged his chest, the boys started to laugh disgustingly. Chapter 112. It was the second day of the Tokyo University tournament, August 26th. Although they wanted to use the remaining time of summer vacation to continue practicing, as a high school club, they couldn't spend all their time on the tournament. Does anyone have any good suggestions? The head of the blowing department, Misaki Komatsu, stood on the podium in the music room. Why don't we just play the competition's song? That's right. We don't have to waste time practicing. I just want to practice, practice, practice. I can understand how you feel, but playing the competition's song is not enough. Misaki Komatsu said awkwardly. This year, the school gave us 30 minutes for the blowing department, but the competition song is only 12 minutes. In order to make up for the extra time, we have to practice a new song. A Shino classmate agrees with this as well. Everyone looked to the side of the classroom, where the seats were assigned to the guests. The beautiful girl, Rin Kiyono, who had nothing but beauty and wisdom, sat there quietly. The autumn wind blew the white curtains, and the girl's black hair swayed, outlining a scene that only appeared in teen movies. Facing everyone's gaze, Rin Kiyono nodded. Her nod was much more persuasive than Misaki Komatsu's, and everyone immediately stopped objecting. Then what song should we choose? Yoshimi Tamamo, who played the trombone, asked. It's best to choose a simple song to save time. It's not good to be too simple, right? We are the first team in the history of Kanagawa High School to win the Kanagawa Tokyo University Tournament gold medal and represent Kanagawa in the national tournament. Aren't you a little too proud? Actually, it's okay to choose a simple song. Most of the people who come to listen to our performance don't know how to play, so choosing a popular song might be more popular. That's right, we know how to play the competition song anyway, and the people who really know how to play won't doubt our ability. Then which songs are popular now, and which ones have a suitable score? I'm not sure. During this time, I've been either training or on the way to cram school, so I'm already out of touch with society. Everyone's situation was similar. Just as they were about to ask Google for help, Toru Watanabe said, "How about the anime song? For example, the theme song and interlude of Ghost Destroyer Blade, and the ending song of Sword and Saber. These two animations are very famous, and many people have heard of them. You should also be able to find the music version online." I know about Sword and Saber, but what's Ghost Destroyer Blade? It's a new animation that came out recently. I heard that it's super popular. Toru Watanabe heard about it from Osamu Kanai and Keisuke Saito. Recently, he had been busy trying to surpass the level of oboe performance, so he hadn't watched any anime. It's super fire. A boy from the percussion section stood up excitedly, bent down, and used a stick to strike the drum in a posture of drawing a sword. Focus reached the peak. No one bothered with him. Even Toru Watanabe didn't know what he was doing. After a short silence, the Misaki Komatsu spoke up to ease the boy's awkwardness. Then we've decided to choose a song from a popular anime. We don't have extra time to choose a song. The leaders of each section and the third grade come to the bass section for a meeting and decide on the specific song. The rest of the students can practice on their own. Yes. The above scene was the percussion section preparing for the cultural festival in September. After the morning training in the Human Activities section's classroom, Toru Watanabe asked Rin Kiyono, who had just finished eating lunch and was reading a book, "What should we do?" Kamigawa's school rules stipulated that in addition to classes, every formal society had to come up with their own activities during the cultural festival. A questionnaire. A questionnaire? Yes. A questionnaire about your opinion on lying. What's so fun about that? It's boring. Toru Watanabe was dissatisfied. He was full of anticipation for cultural festivals, summer festivals, and fireworks displays in foreign countries. It wasn't easy for him to leave the village. He thought that he could live a two-dimensional campus life, but in the end, he found a girlfriend in the first semester. Although she was beautiful and rich, The first cultural festival he had to face was a boring questionnaire. It wasn't even as fun as the flea market in his previous life. Then what do you want to do? Rin Kiyono didn't raise her head and turned a page of her book. How about a temporary band? You'll be the lead singer, I'll play the guitar, and then we'll pull Mickey up and sing the theme songs of Slam Dunk and Dragon Ball. I don't like standing on stage. The percussion section was forced. You don't have the final say in this matter. Toru Watanabe slammed the table. I declare, in this school festival, our SOS section must do something interesting. SOS section. Wrong, it's the human observation section. The human observation section must do something more interesting. Reason. With our grades, we only have 1 year of high school, which means that we only have 1 year of school festival. Shouldn't we try to make it unforgettable since it's a once-in-a-lifetime event? Every meal you eat is a once-in-a-lifetime event. Don't tell me that you eat what you want to eat every meal. There's a difference between the two. Although every meal is indeed a once-in-a-lifetime event, eating happens a lot, so you can look forward to the next one. Toru Watanabe said. What's the difference? There's only one cultural festival in the first year of high school, but there are cultural festivals in the second year, third year, and university every year. Toru Watanabe couldn't argue with her. I don't care, I don't agree with the questionnaire. Rin Kiyono sighed as if she couldn't stand him. You can give me your opinion, and if there's an event that I think is good, I can change it. Band, didn't I just say it? As long as we do this, I dare to swear to Shibuya Station, no, the entire Shinjuku district, that our club won't get first place in the best cultural festival event poll. Rin Kiyono slammed the hardcover book shut and rolled her eyes at him. Didn't I just say it? I don't like to stand on stage. Then, Kamigawa Miss Beauty pageant? I can swear to the entire Tokyo that if it's not popular, there will be a rainstorm that can flood the entire city, and the entire Kanto plain will become. Next. Rin Kiyono interrupted him emotionlessly. Stage play? Romeo and Juliet. I'll be the director, scriptwriter, and miscellaneous. You and Mickey will be the male and female leads. This is incredible. I swear on my hometown, Iwate Prefecture, that no one won't like two beautiful girls whispering sweet nothings to each other. Rin Kiyono didn't immediately object. Instead, she rested her chin on her hand and said with a smile, if you can convince Miki Kujo, I'm fine with it. Let's put this on the record for now. Anything else? Rin Kiyono lost interest and looked at the hardcover book in her hand. Toru Watanabe racked his brain and eliminated the maid cafe and haunted house. Now that things have come to this, we can only rely on the club leader's power. Toru Watanabe gritted his teeth. Let's make a movie. Movie? Can you convince Miki Kujo? It's fine if she doesn't act. There are a total of 86 tools in the band, plus Osamu Kanai and Keisuke Saito. We have more than enough people. Although we don't have the club leader's power, we can definitely make a movie that surpasses the adventures of Chobina Minakoku. Maybe it can be shown in the cinemas in Shinjuku and make a lot of money. The Adventures of Chobina Minakoku? A movie made by high school students? Is it good? Rin Kiyono asked in confusion. It's not a question of whether it's good or not. It's really one of those rare movies that can contain the secrets of the world. Toru Watanabe didn't lie, but he didn't tell the truth either. Is it really that deep? Rin Kiyono fell into deep thought. That's right. Although it hasn't been shown in cinemas, it's really famous among young people. Now that you think about it, isn't it really worth surpassing? We still have to take care of the national competition. I'm afraid we won't have that much time to make a movie. That's nothing. Besides, the members of the band club have to participate in their own class activities. Before the cultural festival ends, there's no chance for us to perform together. And you and I don't have to train. As for the main lead and extras, we can just find someone who's willing to help us out. Rin Kiyono thought about it and nodded in agreement. That's great. That's more like it. That's how a romantic comedy should be. To hell with the old-fashioned questionnaire. I have one condition. 10 is fine. Oh, so polite? Then let's make it 10. Wait, your answer is too strange. I'm just being polite. Rin Kiyono smiled beautifully and let Toru Watanabe off the hook. My condition is that I'll be the director and screenwriter. You're not going to be the female lead? Not interested. Rin Kiyono took out a brand new notebook from her drawer. Since we've decided to make a movie, the first thing we need to do is confirm the script, actors, and equipment. Nope. First, let's watch The Adventures of Chobina Minakuku. Kiyono. Toru Watanabe took a deep breath. What? I like to talk nonsense, say strange things, and make fun of you. But there's one thing that I hope you can remember. No matter what I say, deep down in my heart, I'll always be your friend. Why are you suddenly saying such chilling words? Rin Kiyono tightly grasped the hem of her pleated skirt, where a pair of snow-white slender legs poked out. Nothing. I thought about it, and actually making a movie doesn't seem too reliable. I don't think we can make a satisfying movie in a month's time. Of course we can't make it in time for a normal movie, but The Adventures of Chobina Minakuku has more time. Rin Kiyono suddenly reacted. She let go of her skirt and shot a cold look at Toru Watanabe. Kiyono, Miss Kiyono, I apologize for all my mistakes. Please continue to make the movie. I've bet my life on this event. Watanabe-san's life is really worthless. Miss Kiyono sneered. I was wrong. Toru Watanabe was already used to it, and his tone was especially insincere. It's decided, the movie's name will be The Adventures of Toru Watanabe. I don't have any superpowers right now, and even if you plagiarized, you should at least make some changes. Toru Watanabe hurriedly said. Rin Kiyono ignored Toru Watanabe's whining and said thoughtfully. The content of the script. A certain existence from another world, for some reason, reincarnated into this world, and became a young man named Toru Watanabe. Miss Kiyono. What? Not bad, right? Please don't have an ability that's even more perverted than mine, okay? I'm really hurt by that. I've only said the beginning, I haven't thought about the real development yet. You can wait until the movie comes out, and then worship me. No, I'm now a member of Kiyono's Divine Church. Please give me the power to change the world, and not find ways to deal with girls in school. Then I'll let you become that strange card face and fight. The location will be in Shinjuku? No, since it involves superpowers, there needs to be more locations. This way, funding will become a problem. It seems like there's a need to get sponsors. Rin Kiyono raised her head and looked at Toru Watanabe, who was praying to her with a fruit from the fridge. Watanabe-san, your looks can finally be put to good use. In the afternoon, the Masaki Komatsu handed out the music scores for the cultural festival. They were the opening song of Demon Destroyer's Blade, Red Lotus, the ending song of Sword God's Domain, Unlasting, and the opening song of Attack on Titan, Red Lotus's Arrow. 2 competition songs, 3 popular anime songs, and an introduction and break time were just enough for 30 minutes. For Toru Watanabe, an entire afternoon was more than enough time for him to practice his part. His main focus was on Rin Kiyono's upcoming movie. After all, he was the one who suggested it. Even if the script wasn't Rin Kiyono and Miki Kujo's intimate love story, as he wanted, he still had to take it seriously. Before the end of the school festival, the wind department's training would end at 5 p.m., and it was up to them whether they wanted to continue practicing or not. Rin Kiyono and Toru Watanabe left at 5 p.m. sharp to prepare for the Human Observation Department's school festival. They arrived at the embankment where Toru Watanabe often practiced his oboe. It was summer, so the area was overgrown with weeds and unknown flowers were blooming everywhere. Reeds that were about the same height as Rin Kiyono swayed comfortably in the wind on the other side of the river. The two of them sat on an old bench. Where did you choose? Rin Kiyono said with some dissatisfaction. Isn't this a nice place? There are mosquitoes. It's fine, Toru Watanabe said casually. They recognize me now, so they won't suck my blood anymore. I'm talking about me. That's a problem. Kiyono-san's blood looks delicious, Toru Watanabe agreed. How do you know? Your legs make people want to bite them when they see them. Don't you have such an impulse when you take a shower and look at yourself in the mirror? No, I don't have such an impulse at all. Rin Kiyono stared coldly at Toru Watanabe, who was looking at her legs. You're lying, aren't you? As expected, Kiyono. Sand, you're very strange. You're different from the average person. Toru Watanabe, I want you to be treated well in the script. Rin Kiyono said word by word. Can I refuse to act? What do you think? Of course. Rin Kiyono sneered. I'll make you do your favorite transformation. The location is Shinjuku Station, the intersection in front of Shibuya 109 building. Shinjuku Station, the station with the most traffic in Japan. Shibuya intersection, the intersection with the most traffic in the world. Chapter 113. Beck's Coffee Shop, second floor. In the corner, a group of university students were playing Monster Hunter online with the Switch. In the seats surrounded by green plants, a couple whispered. Nakajima Miyuki's Riding on the Silver Dragon was playing in the shop. At the counter by the window, a beautiful girl who looked more outstanding than her idol was holding her forehead as if she had a headache, frowning slightly. The handsome boy next to her was drinking coffee awkwardly. There was a cell phone between them, and on the screen was the curtain call of a movie. Acting, Chobina Minakuku, Koizumi Itsuki, Nagato Yuki. In addition to the cast list, what replaced the ending song was a statement from Haruhi Suzumiya, acting as the producer, director, original work, costume designer. Say it again? This work is purely fictional, and the actual characters and groups. I say, Shuchan. Why do you have to say this? Isn't this natural? After the movie ended, Toru Watanabe put away his cell phone. How was it? He asked. Rin Kiyono, with her eyes closed and her hand on her forehead, let out a burst of despair and murderous sneers. Don't be discouraged. Toru Watanabe comforted her. Although we don't have the ability to make people's eyes emit lasers, wildcats speak, gray pigeons turn into white pigeons, and cherry blossoms bloom in autumn. As long as the special effects are enough, it's definitely not a problem to surpass the adventures of Chobina Minakuku. Ah yes. As long as you have a normal mind, it's definitely not a problem to surpass the adventures of Chobina Minakuku. Toru Watanabe picked up his coffee cup and avoided Rin Kiyono's cold gaze. After relieving his discomfort, he said, Don't underestimate this movie. It's much more famous than some legitimate movies. Can you guarantee that your movie will be as famous? I will. Rin Kiyono's tone made Toru Watanabe feel a strong sense of uneasiness about the future. After leaving the coffee shop, the two of them walked towards the electronics street. I remember that our school has a film studies department. Can't we just borrow their equipment using the excuse of collaborating with them? On the way, Toru Watanabe was puzzled. During the free time of practice, the girls from different grades and classes gossiped a lot. This included the fact that the film studies department's Daru Kazanzo and the dance club's Katashirakawa Tamako were in a relationship. Toru Watanabe learned about the existence of the film studies department and the dance stick department. If we collaborate with the film studies department, others will only think that the film studies department is better than us and treat us, the human observation department, as their vassal. Rin Kiyono compared the map on her phone as she searched for electronics stores on both sides of the street. Has the premise already been set that the movie will definitely be excellent? Of course. Who do you think I am? You are the god of the new world. Perhaps Rin Kiyono, who looked like a normal girl, was actually like Haruhi Suzumiya, who did not have a normal mind. Would he get an even more powerful system because of this? If possible, please give me something like, initial check-in to innate divine body Dao embryo. Please, Lord Kiyono. What are you thinking about standing there like an idiot? Hurry up and follow me. Rin Kiyono put away her phone and walked into a film equipment store. Yes, I'm coming. This was a trendy store decorated with a sense of photography. There were so many pieces of equipment that it looked like they were in a wholesale warehouse. Although the arrangement was messy, it gave people the feeling that they could buy any related equipment they wanted. Considering this point, they might have deliberately arranged it in this way. Then, taking advantage of the customer's mentality, no matter what they wanted to buy, they would directly come to this shop and sell the goods at a premium price. Profiteers. It was as disgusting as selling pork with a red light to prevent people from seeing the freshness of the meat. Although this was what he thought, Toru Watanabe could not suppress his male instinct to be interested in photography equipment after entering the store. He looked left and right with an excited expression. From time to time, he would stop and carefully study the goods on display. Compared to him, Rin Kiyono directly found the shop assistant, told him what kind of movie she wanted to shoot, and asked him to recommend the equipment. Cameras, tripods, stabilizers, pickup microphones for sound, track tracking, push and pull lenses, and a small slide rail with the function of shooting up and down, and so on. After calculating the total amount in her mind, Rin Kiyono touched her chin and muttered to herself, "It's more expensive than I thought. The prize money is not enough." Prize money? What prize money? Toru Watanabe put away the pickup microphones that he used as a selfie stick. Tokyo University won the gold medal in the competition, and the school gave it to 2 clubs. Then what about mine? Don't even think about it. Rin Kiyono rudely interrupted him. Can't we be reasonable? As an oboe soloist, even if I didn't do anything, I still worked hard. Rin Kiyono looked at him with a cold smile. You want to shoot the movie, right? Yes, I want to shoot the movie, but what about the part for the blowing club? Don't tell me you secretly used the money from the blowing club to make a movie for the Human Observation Club? Of course. Hey, that's other people's money. Toru Watanabe hurriedly reminded her. Don't worry. Rin Kiyono smiled confidently. As long as the movie makes a profit, it'll be enough to earn back the money from the students and the people who came to visit the school festival. Kiyono-san, you're now like a criminal who secretly used the company's money in an attempt to make money from gambling. Rin Kiyono glared at Toru Watanabe, and then coughed softly as if to say, enough is enough for a guy who doesn't know how to talk. Toru Watanabe had always been good at reading the air, so he casually changed the topic. Even if you use all the money from the movie, it still won't be enough? Yes. As the producer, can't you just fork out some money yourself? Toru Watanabe suggested. It was almost the end of the month, and the 1 million yen Miki Kujo gave him this month was almost used up. Although he had more than 100 million yen in his bank account, it would be very troublesome to explain to Miki Kujo if he suddenly took out so much money. Haruai Suzumiya can get sponsorships, but I can't? Rin Kiyono gave Toru Watanabe a sidelong glance, and then went to talk to the staff. Why did she have to compare herself with the two-dimensional female lead? Toru Watanabe thought about how Haruai Suzumiya got the equipment for The Adventures of Chobina Minakuku. The female lead, Chobina Minakuku, wore a bunny girl costume and tricked it into shooting an advertisement. Could it be Rin Kiyono wants to cosplay as a bunny girl? Incredible. With such good benefits, it wouldn't be a problem for their movie to be screened in the whole of Japan, let alone Shinjuku. It was only a matter of time before they surpassed The Adventures of Chobina Minakuku. While Toru Watanabe was thinking, he noticed that Rin Kiyono, who was talking to the staff, was pointing at him. Wait. I won't wear a bunny girl costume. Toru Watanabe hurried over. You came at the right time, Rin Kiyono said to Toru Watanabe and turned to look at the staff. This is the male lead of the movie. The staff looked at Toru Watanabe out of politeness and said to Rin Kiyono, Customer, the male lead of the movie is very handsome, but I'm very sorry, I can't make the decision about sponsorship. Watanabe-san, please smile. Rin Kiyono said. He already said that he can't make the decision, so don't make it difficult for him. Although Toru Watanabe didn't smile to girls other than Miki Kujo and Rin Kiyono, he also wouldn't smile to a male staff. He's lying, Rin Kiyono said in a low voice. It's not a matter of whether he's lying or not, the key is that he's not willing to do it, so don't force him. What do you mean by forcing him? Isn't getting sponsorship when the sponsor takes out all his advantages and tries his best to convince the unwilling sponsor? He's not willing to do it now because he doesn't believe in our value. Kiyono-san, Toru Watanabe said awkwardly. When I said forcing him, I was referring to you forcing me to smile. Rin Kiyono took a deep breath and said as if she had lost. You're the one who suggested making the movie, right? It's me. Before he could finish, Rin Kiyono gave him an intimidating look, forcing him to smile. Toru Watanabe could only surrender. He said to the staff with a bitter smile. Please reconsider. We promise that a lot of people will see this movie. The staff was stunned and looked at him dumbfoundedly. Toru Watanabe felt a chill run down his spine. No wonder he's a profiteer with a red light. Even his heart is broken. Qingyi Rin, on the other hand, nodded in satisfaction. You are? The staff stuttered and asked. Under Rin Kiyono's gaze, Toru Watanabe could only try his best to maintain a smile and prepare to introduce himself. However, the shop assistant suddenly bowed, startling the two of them. Young Master Watanabe. The staff shouted respectfully. Toru Watanabe recalled his father who was either drinking or working. Was he an abandoned son of a rich family? And he looked exactly like his grandfather? Wait, he reacted and pointed at the bottom of his feet. This is the property of the Kujo family? Yes. Then it's easy. Toru Watanabe turned to Rin Kiyono and said, how about I call Miki and ask her to sponsor us? Kujio Miki would be more than happy to become their investor. And then she would be able to point fingers at Seino Rin and show him the ugly side of capitalism. No need, no need. The staff repeatedly waved his hand. Young Master Watanabe, we can give the equipment the biggest discount. We have enough money. Toru Watanabe looked at Rin Kiyono and let her make the decision. Rin Kiyono said to the staff, thank you. We will help promote your store in the movie. After paying the bill, Rin Kiyono and Toru Watanabe took all kinds of equipment out of the store. Under the sunset, two boys and girls wearing Kanagawa High School uniforms walked on the streets of Shinjuku. Why don't you let the staff send it to the school? Toru Watanabe held a tripod in his right hand and a microphone in his left hand. Because I need to familiarize myself with the equipment now. Rin Kiyono, who was carrying two backpacks, pointed a DSLR at the distant bridge under the setting sun. Can't we send it to your house? This is your punishment for deceiving me with Chobina Minakoku. Toru Watanabe, who was in the wrong, could only obediently act as a porter. The temperature at 6 o'clock in the evening at the end of August couldn't be underestimated. Walking on the bridge, Toru Watanabe, who couldn't walk anymore, suggested that they take a break. Rin Kiyono nodded slightly. Her snow-white skin was already covered with a thin layer of sweat. The two of them stood in the middle of the bridge, put the equipment at their feet, and enjoyed the light evening breeze that could only be felt when they calmed down. Rin Kiyono had already figured out how to operate the DSLR, and aimed it at the rumbling tram under the bridge for a while. Looking at the effect, with the thought that this lens might come in handy, she clicked to save it. Then she looked at Toru Watanabe, who was wearing his school uniform. The sunset shone on his handsome face, dyeing it with a faint blush, making him look energetic and dazzling. Rin Kiyono couldn't help but admit that this guy who spouted nonsense was indeed very handsome. She raised the DSLR and recorded Toru Watanabe, who was staring at the tracks in a daze. Hearing the sound of the machine, Toru Watanabe snapped out of his daze. Ignoring the fact that he was being filmed, he asked, "What are you planning to write in the script?" "Didn't I tell you? A person from another world came to this world and became Toru Watanabe." Looking at the saved video, Rin Kiyono nodded to herself. This paragraph could also come in handy. And then, don't tell me that it's a hero saving a damsel in distress, that the location is Imperial Tea Water, and that the girl is actually a demon. Hero saving a damsel in distress. Imperial Tea Water. Demon. Seeing that Rin Kiyono had already started thinking about the plot with these three keywords, Toru Watanabe hurriedly stood up straight. "I'm just talking nonsense, don't take it seriously. Hero saving a damsel in distress is too tacky." Rin Kiyono ignored him and muttered to herself, "You came to this world with the ability to obtain rewards for saving a girl. The enemy is a demon who stole the girl's soul, each stronger than the last. As long as you save the girl, you'll be able to obtain stronger abilities as a card. But in the end, You were killed by a cunning demon who turned into a girl in imperial tea water. Toru Watanabe, who was sweating profusely, felt a chill in his heart. Lord God, please stop talking. Is this script not good? Rin Kiyono frowned slightly. It's not that it's not good, but how should I put it? I don't think it will be popular. Then what kind of script do you think will be popular? How could Toru Watanabe have a script? But anyway, he couldn't let the cunning demon who turned into a girl kill him in imperial tea water. How about this? Toru Watanabe looked at Rin Kiyono in front of him. I'm an employee of a company in this world. My purpose is to take the female lead from this world and change the body of a rich man to prolong his life. But for some reason, this girl has the ability to see through lies. She could tell at a glance that the ridiculously handsome male lead is actually a bad guy. Rin Kiyono, who was fiddling with the DSLR, paused. But the girl didn't run away. Instead, she took the initiative to tell the male lead that as long as he fulfilled his last 3 wishes, she would take the initiative to leave with him. What wishes? Rin Kiyono raised her eyes and looked at Toru Watanabe. Fall in love. Rin Kiyono's cherry lips parted slightly in surprise. She looked at Toru Watanabe in disbelief. Are you sure you want to fall in love with the female lead? Can't I? Toru Watanabe looked at the cute Rin Kiyono in confusion. What about Miki Kujo? Hiss. Toru Watanabe sucked in a cold breath. In order to avoid the plot's death, he was almost killed by reality. He quickly corrected himself. Then let's not play the love factor. Play baseball, do a part-time job, or even participate in a music competition to spread your music. Anything is fine. Continue. Rin Kiyono looked at him as if this plot was boring. The male lead is unknowingly moved. During the body replacement surgery, he helps kill the rich man so that the girl can live on as a rich man. What do you think? Rin Kiyono thought about it. The ending is, after the female lead obtains power and wealth, she kills the male lead so as not to expose herself. Why do I have to die? That's so weird. Passing by the bridge, a boy who was pushing his bicycle strenuously looked at Toru Watanabe, who was talking loudly to the beautiful girl, with angry eyes. What does the male lead's death have to do with you? Rin Kiyono looked at him strangely. In any case, the male lead can't die. The plot twist is more interesting. But I'll decide on the specific plot myself. You can use it as a reference. Rin Kiyono thought about the plot in her mind as she looked into the distance. The night breeze blew, and more people came out for a stroll. She suddenly remembered something. She turned around and looked at Toru Watanabe, who was still protesting that the male lead couldn't die. Tomorrow night, the Meiji Shrine Waiyuan will have the biggest fireworks show in Tokyo. With such good material, I want to shoot it in the movie. But the budget is all gone. The actors are not confirmed, and there's no script. I don't want to die. Tonight, I'll try my best to write a scene around the fireworks show. During the day, I'll choose the actors and the shooting location. Okay, good luck, but don't stay up late. I don't want to die. We'll talk about it later. Rin Kiyono picked up her bag. Let's go back. Toru Watanabe leaned his equipment on his shoulders and walked towards the stairs of the bridge. He nagged. Remember, I don't want to die. I want to live. I'll think about it. Really? I'll make sure you don't die too tragically. Hey, I'm your friend, right? You're so noisy. Can't you be quieter? By the time they finally arrived at Seino Rin's high-class apartment, Toru Watanabe was already drenched in sweat. What do you want to drink? Rin Kiyono opened the refrigerator door and asked. Wheat tea with ice. Here. Thank you. Toru Watanabe took a big gulp. Looking at the satisfied Toru Watanabe, Rin Kiyono couldn't help but laugh. What are you laughing at? You didn't put an aphrodisiac in the tea, did you? Toru Watanabe looked at her warily. Hurry up and drink it. You really put an aphrodisiac in it? What's going on? Do you have thoughts about my body that I keep exercising? Sorry, you're too purposeful. And your methods are too despicable. It's impossible for us. Drink it and leave. Rin Kiyono picked up her notebook and began to think about the script. You're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.